Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Runner breaks for second here out to center. Harris sprinting straight back. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! That is as sensational as it gets. Michael Harris. And fly ball right center, pretty well hit. Ravi racing back to the triangle. And up against the wall, they made the play. Oh, he paid for it. He took a shot, but to the deepest part of Fenway.
In the air, right field, that should be deep enough. Lindor tagging at third. Reynolds makes the catch. Here comes Lindor with the winning run, and the Mets have walked it off in the bottom of the ninth. Pete Alonso with the sacrifice fly, and the Mets win a scrappy game as they defeat the Pirates in the opening game of the series 4-3. Brunson gets inside, lowers the shoulder. They've got to be locked in with them. Brunson, three-pointers. Harris Knicks cut it to 2 for the left hand. Back shot's good. 33 for Jalen Brunson. Brunson drives, gets past Horford, stops, pulls up, two-pointer, got it! Brunson looking, step back, three-pointer. It's good! Rattled around and dropped through.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
Oh, we're doing terrific. How are you?
Good. How many times is that thing going to beep, click, tick?
I'm trying to keep it. We're trying.
How many times are we going to do that?
We're going to do our best. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't a terrific night, but
I did my best.
We're out here.
I mean, kind of like who? Golden State. We're out here. The Vegas Knights. Like, who did their best, but their best wasn't good enough?
Boston.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the way that script's being written because, and hopefully Tatum can come back, but man, I do not want to see New York win the series. Like, I'm not going to discount it. People get hurt all the time.
Yeah.
But the competitor in me is just like, you know what? You want to beat teams at their best.
For sure. And
but health is part of it now, though.
It is. Like, being able to stay healthy is a huge part of winning a championship. And to be fair, they very easily might have gone up 3-1 with Tatum.
Yeah.
If Tatum finishes the game. Like, we don't know, but it's on the table.
I have a question.
Okay.
And maybe I need to go to somebody that's guy, it should be in your wheelhouse.
All right, I'm ready.
When did we start doing wheelchairs?
Okay.
Was it Paul Pierce?
So
was there a pre-Paul Pierce wheelchair?
Paul Pierce is the first one I remember. And then we had a gap. And then we had Dwayne Wade with the shoulder wheelchair, which was, I still don't understand to this day. Because famously, when you have a shoulder injury, you can still walk.
To this day?
To this day. And then after that, it seemed like it sort of picked up in consistency a little bit.
Yeah.
That we've got wheelchair. Now, I kind of get it because doing the whole, like, let's grab a couple tall guys and walk into the locker room seems
archaic.
Yeah, it seems a little silly.
I just didn't know how would be, and I've seen, Lord knows, I've spent enough time in hospitals the last 2 years, but I mean, you can basically fold a wheelchair into
you get into nothing, like a piece of paper,
like a matchbox car.
Yeah, they're tiny.
So I get it. Like, they just whip those things out.
Super portable.
Yeah, it's like, people's lawn chairs watching sporting events. He's
throw that thing down.
But really?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're a big, like, walk off on your own power.
You make it seem like I'm unrealistic. If you get up, get up. That's all.
I mean, I know you want everybody, when they rip their Achilles in half, to go shoot the free throws and then check themselves out of the game.
I see what you're doing, and did not. No, not happening.
I'm just saying, when you're investing somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 million into a guy, like, maybe you just go give him the wheelchair so you don't do any more damage on the way out.
Fine. Have your wheelchair. I just asked the question.
Now, if we're talking about a shoulder injury, you don't need a wheelchair.
Or if you poop your pants.
Honestly, if you poop your pants, I'll let you have the wheelchair. That's fine. If you feel like sitting in that, go for it.
All the power to you. Yeah, tough night out here in the association.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
Shane, are you happy with hockey?
Don't matter to me.
Don't matter to me.
It's all right.
All of a sudden, he's having spectacular interviews too. Ooh.
Shane, are you ever happy?
Nice job by the Giants saying the quiet part out loud with releasing their interview. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why, New York?
Yeah.
Stop New Yorking.
I mean, they're not going to stop New Yorking.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they do.
How about Phil Simms just low-key hammering Abdul Carter? Hey,
you know the thing about
Abdul
it
Carter
is,
didn't ask for 11. Right, he didn't really need. I mean,
Phil
Simms
Simms
didn't need to.
Also,
chime in.
Phil Simms, do you really want to be brought up because, like, historically, you're thought of really well, and you were kind of just okay.
Yeah, age better.
So maybe if I'm Phil Simms, I stay out of the fray.
Age better,
and just kind of stay above everything here.
Phil's got strong opinions. Did you not used to listen to his broadcast?
Oh, I do.
Or when he was replaced, it was hectic. That is Severe's favorite guy, though. I should get his takes on Phil Simms. What?
Sorry, Jace Wizzestick says DB needed a wheelchair after he fell at the school.
Hey,
that probably would have helped, honestly.
I told you how the principal called me out the other day.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, you're walking better." I ain't gonna lie though. If I could have hit the ramp, I would have taken a wheelchair.
In that moment, I feel like you would have taken it.
Man, your boy tried to get off the ground so fast it was almost detrimental to my health. I tried to pop up and it darn near gave out.
You're
again.
like, uh-oh. Carl Lewis singing the national anthem.
Do you know what my self-talk was?
Uh-oh.
Are you kidding me? You got to be better. Get to the door. Like, I mean, the self-talk started immediately.
Well, you got to understand, though.
It never affected my play.
I can look back at that and laugh.
I'm just glad you're actually okay, because that, like, you could have actually hurt yourself.
No, and I did. There's still some things I can't do, but
you're moving pretty good, though.
Yeah, given what happened and the fact that my teeth are intact.
I was like, didn't hit your head on the ground. That's a big W.
No, I got a lot of other markings
on your face
that weren't from that. But apparently the shower is much worse, or maybe I beat myself up I don't even get to a deep enough sleep to be violent.
Not.
But you know what I think happened was my dream about having to fight the guy in the grocery store pre or post hurting my face.
I thought it was post.
I think it was post too.
I thought it was post.
Like Kellogg's, like the cereal.
I don't know.
Actually, I think Post is a whole other brand.
You feel good about yourself because you got a haircut. You look fantastic. When we go to the 3-cam and get this thing fully blown out, man, I'll be glad when people get to see your beautiful face.
I am old.
I mean, you're a good-looking.
You're right over there, Shane.
I worked hard at school.
What's the correct term for little people?
I think little people is what they go by.
Can I pet that dog?
I know there are other terms that they
I told you, my buddy says
by.
he suffers from dwarfism.
I think that's the name of the actual condition.
And I'm not saying you're that guy, hey, anybody can be good looking, but I like your haircut, man. Was that Great Clips?
But just because I don't have 26-inch guns.
Was that? I don't even know what that means. Was that Great Clips?
It was Great Clips, yes.
Coupon or no coupon?
Coupon. $10.99 haircut.
Nice. How much was the coupon for?
$10.99. It was
Oh, so it wasn't off. It was just get it for this.
Yeah.
Nice. What'd you tip?
$5.
Wait, is this thing scripted? Why are you answering my questions so fast?
I don't know. I mean, it was literally. If it would have been,
did I give him notes?
It was so
normally it costs this, and so I tipped off of that amount.
It took her about 5 minutes, so I said about $5 for the tip. That'd be
$1 a minute.
Yeah.
She cut your hair in 5 minutes?
Yes.
Do they not wash it or anything?
No, I don't want to say that.
No, I'm just asking. Like, I didn't know. Like, I don't know how you would do it in 5 minutes and get it washed.
Oh gosh.
Todd, that's definitely not the term.
Are we really doubling down?
On what?
I don't know.
So the internet tells me that little person or little people is the term that they prefer, but dwarfism is the condition in which you become a little person. We're all the way out on, I think, midget. You can't call them that anymore.
Yeah, that never sat well.
Yeah, it's
how do you become a little person?
You shouldn't also call
them.
What
do you mean become?
Yeah, I mean,
well, like you grow and then you stop. That's how you kind of become a little person.
So you just kind of get there?
Yeah.
Or don't.
Yeah.
Mom, get my nuts.
It's kind of like how do you become cold? Really, cold is just a lack of heat, and little is a lack of height.
I got a question though. So like
They don't want you to call them dwarfs either, even though it is dwarfism.
Sometimes when you like get a haircut or you feel like you look good, you know, you might go to the hairdresser or the stylist or the barber or whatever, and you're like, man, it doesn't matter what I wear. I look good. You ever felt like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I got you.
Is that how you feel? Because you're awfully squirrely this morning.
He does. You seem bright-eyed and
you-
bushy-tailed. And
I don't know if you got a good night's sleep or
The
you
smoke-
like the way you looked in the mirror or
the smoke plumes were extra plush this morning when I was rolling in.
was it?
Oh, it was
Isn't
smoky.
it good?
It was smoky.
Yeah, just some
Like
mornings
Robinson.
it's like that.
Yeah.
Is it so? Does the puffs you said are just kind of how aggressive you are with
He
the
was
vape,
Magic
right?
Dragon over there this morning.
I don't know if I could be amazing today.
Wow.
We're out here, right?
I guess.
So yeah, little people, not dwarf or midget.
Anyway, I'm very sad for, I guess, Celtics fans. You know, big Josh Hodgson guy,
Yeah, I love Josh.
aka J.O. Felony.
Yeah, terrific.
You just don't want to watch. He's had to watch the Braves be hurt. His
Mhm.
Titans can't stay healthy. The Celtics aren't very. St. Louis Jordan is a Celtics fan.
So in Josh's, I guess not in his defense, he did get the Celtics title last year. He got the Braves title recently as well. Like he's doing
Had enough.
He's doing okay.
You can't tell people.
He's doing okay.
You cool with Golden State not winning another one?
Nah. But if somebody was like, "Hey, you got,"
I'm the Steelers. I just want one in the last 15 years.
if somebody came up to me and was like, "Okay, listen, man, you need to quit bitching about the Red Sox. You got 4 over the course of 14 years. It hasn't been that long since 2018." I'd be like, "You're not wrong. I'm still gonna be mad about it, but I understand your point." Or if they go, "Hey, you know, you've got Golden State, you got 4. Curry turned out to be everything you wanted him to be. Just enjoy the twilight of his career. Quit yelling about the front office." I'd be like, I mean, you're not wrong. Got the bonus one after Durant left that I didn't think was coming. The way
No. How all of a sudden did you make this about you?
I make everything about me, DB. That's kind of my thing.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Rico is not upset about Boston.
No, yeah. So team, go Rico.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sort of so to be honest, 'cause I'm not.
Although here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
I gotta say this about Rico. So you know my personality, right? Like I cheer for the underdog.
Mhm.
I like good triumph stories. That's why my emphasis is in special ed,
Mhm.
mild to moderate, K-8.
Trying to help people overcome.
I like good success stories. I
Mhm.
mean, if everybody's gonna like Rico, which they appear to,
Mhm.
I may have to just be out for no good reason.
You say
Is that not the most DB thing
It
ever?
is.
I may have to be out on Rico for no good reason.
except that everybody else is in.
Yeah,
You're like, it's too popular. I'm out.
like
You're like a hipster, but with people.
How in that?
wow, something I've never been called. I've been called a lot of things.
I'm just saying, I always get the rap for being petty, but that's way pettier than anything I do.
So still root for Rico.
You gotta keep Rico in.
Okay,
Rico's
I'll-
a good dude.
All right.
There's a reason people
Like
like.
everybody loves this dude.
There's a reason people like Rico, and it's because he's a good dude.
Okay, I'll get on it.
Like that's one of those guys that you would ride with.
Yeah, I just feel like because I don't want the rap that I got. I didn't get a couple of my idiot
You're
Associates.
still DB from the block.
no a couple of my idiot associates
Yeah.
from college or high school would tell me I always picked the ugly girl on purpose. That's not true. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like, the more popular you were, the less apt
Interested
I
that you
was
were.
to probably,
Yeah, I get that.
baby, go my way. It's really shorty.
We like to find little diamonds in the rough, you know.
Not
We will embrace it.
Not intentionally. I much prefer being attracted to you. But I mean, let's start there. But
All things being equal.
I get so Rico stays. Okay, that's fine. I won't kick him out because he hasn't done one thing
No,
to me. Ever.
Not at all. Not at all. He's a good dude.
All right.
I'll ride with Rico.
I just had to get that out.
No,
of the
I
way
understand. That
'cause
is a very
the skirt
DB.
pom pomming we have for. That's why I had to start defending Austin
'Cause he was getting piled on.
because he
too
was
much.
getting bombed. I was like, nah, I'm riding with Austin now. I'm Team AJ.
I think Austin kind of knows what he's doing.
Is he responsible for the clip yesterday?
Yep.
Oh, he's out. He's out.
You know what? I was so impressed in real time that he got it up that fast.
Listen, AJ is out. I had adopted that dude. I defended his abnormally large lunch pail, the sweet haircuts, the interviews, the juice he brings, the fact he way outkicked his coverage and he's going to marry a doctor. I defended that he sleeps around with other media partners. It's fine. Bed hopper.
Metaphorically.
He's out.
Don't want the doctor girlfriend to get the wrong impression.
I tease him about that. I'm like, AJ, when you cut these clips, I know what you're doing. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Here,
man.
I'm gonna defend Austin.
Of course you will, because I'm on him tough.
I'm gonna defend Austin here.
All right, let's defend AJ.
That graphic, and if you were on social media at all yesterday and follow me or DB or the show, you understand what we're talking about.
Listen.
You tried to dial it back.
Listen, I'm a good piece of. I don't want to bury people because it's not my style. If I don't think you're being ill will,
but there's some people that needed buried yesterday.
Man, I listen.
You hit the replies, which you don't do a lot.
I'll take it.
So when people that I trust, like that I actually respect, they do media-esque type things or they're in positions of influence.
Yeah.
When they hit me up and like, are you serious? Like I know that we're on the right path.
Yeah.
Right. A couple dudes in particular, like it forced me to go back and listen. I'm like, that wasn't really the point. Because I'm not a big, I don't know what you call it, because it's supposed to be what your job is. But when you make people consume the content, like, oh, let me go check this out.
You're not real clickbaity.
I'm not. Yeah, so that's not my style.
I want people to listen because they think it's good, not because we trick them.
And for disclosure, somebody else used that on me this week, and I was like, hey,
are
you making fun of me?
That's mine.
No, he looked dead at me. I was like, people have been using this since the turn of the century. I was like, damn, why so hostile? Smart dude. Anyway, turn of the century, though?
It's AC.
Wait, so when would the turn of the century be?
I guess this 2000 now, I guess.
I bet he was talking about 1900.
So that's what my brain goes to, but it's because I was born before 2000. But I'm like, we're like a quarter of the way into this thing. It's probably 2000.
AC? No, he's actually nice to me. He's probably, he and Brett.
You said smart guy, so I thought.
Are the only two people that I really, really, really ride with that have never been mean to me. Everybody else has a couple of notches on their belt.
I've never been actually mean to you.
Robbie, you're a jerk. Me and St. Louis Jordan had this talk yesterday because he's hooking me up with these workouts. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
I'm never actually mean to you.
Well, it's funny because you beat him into submission. He's like, man, I need to go have a beer with that guy. I'm like, shoot, a year ago, you're like, I can't ride with him.
Listen, I wear people down.
So anyway, and I would get on, like, I've gotten on Austin before about, hey, man, like, when you cut these clips, like, that's not what I said. But he's really, gotta give him, he's really good at what he does. So, okay, cool. Yeah. I'll go with it. But yesterday, man, I'm like, so this is what I hate. Opinions are fine. You can have your own sets of opinions. You do not get your own sets of facts. And the ignorance in groupthink was incredible. I'm like,
wild.
You guys are purposely
and proudly being ignorant. Like defiantly ignorant.
And I guess it's like, so my one dude, and his political affiliation would surprise you. But, you know, he makes this reference. He goes, I almost did his voice, and I did not want to give him away. Okay.
Lock in.
He's like, DB. Oh, wait. I'm trying not to do his emotions.
Okay.
The gist of it was the inability to just want to go back and get something.
Yeah, get the information you need.
Or just equip yourself. But he said something interesting, though. Because we've kind of gotten lazy with information. We just want opinions.
Or we read a headline and we think we know everything about it. Or
so
whatever.
we aren't. So this particular individual doesn't deal with a ton of adults on that level. Now he deals with a ton of adults, but mostly it's younger people aspiring. So he's like, now I don't want to be super myopic and go best case scenario, but a lot of times we just want limited amounts of information to validate how we feel. And I was like,
Instead of deciding how we feel based on the information that we've gathered.
Yeah. And in my head,
that's very common.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'll ride with that. But why? Because I have to go back into reading articles from people that I don't necessarily like, but sometimes they got good stuff. So I want to know.
You know why?
Because,
because it feels good. That's why.
No,
it feels good.
No, I don't believe that.
In the short term, it feels good.
I do not believe that.
It's in the short term, it feels good.
I don't believe
to
that.
be validated.
I don't believe that. To be validated in is ignorance really bliss?
Yes, I think so. A lot of times.
Okay.
I think if you feel a certain way and you feel strongly about that, which obviously people do, whether we're talking about politics or football or whatever, people feel strongly about
kids learning
about these things, right?
Caseloads.
People telling the truth. Obviously, that's the thing I feel strongly about. So there is a immediate validation that feels good when you find information that agrees with you. And it feels bad when somebody says, hey, you might be wrong. Now, long term, taking that you might be wrong and figuring out, okay, do I need more information? And then you go get it and you see, okay, no, I still think I'm right. Or, this person had a point. Maybe I need to adjust my thinking here a little bit. I understand this. I grew up in an evangelical church. I went to school to be a pastor.
What does that mean?
And my life, evangelical?
Yes.
It's like,
people use it all the time.
So it's Protestant, so not Catholic.
Okay.
And then it's not. So I grew up particularly in non-denominational, so not Presbyterian or Lutheran or anything like that. It's kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
Basically,
big Word of God guy.
Real big on literal translations of the Bible, baptism, that kind of thing.
Old school, new school guy.
A lot of relational.
Right, tearing of the curtain guy. Where are we at?
Tearing of the curtain. You've got big relational with Jesus.
I know sometimes people just throw around these terms, and I'm like, listen, man, we're either believers or we're not, and
that's not how a lot of people think, though. Because I know people that grew up.
I know, I understand that.
Yeah, literally, I grew up with people in the churches I grew up with that thought
you're one sect off.
Yeah, that. If you're the wrong version, you're going to hell.
Oh.
Not just I disagree with you, but you're full on not even a Christian.
People are a lot of fun at their cookies and cake parties.
They're super fun.
A lot of bundt cake people.
A lot of receptions in the church basement after weddings.
A lot of angel food.
Yeah, angel food, cake, and iced tea. But I grew up in that environment.
Do they wear the strappy sandals and the scarves.
A lot of homeschooling. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I was going to say strappy sandals. Not that there's anything. I don't know. I hate those too. Not that there's anything wrong with homeschooling. Big homeschool guy.
We call them Jesus sandals.
You just go from bad to worse.
But I grew up in a very specific environment. And then I went to school to be a pastor in that specific environment. Yeah. And as I'm learning these things.
Ravi here for helping people.
Obviously it didn't work out. But as I'm learning these things I'm getting more and more information, my worldview changed. My views on religion, on everything changed. And that's not to say that I'm not a person who still considers himself spiritual or a believer to a certain degree, but I have a very different belief system than I did now. That was a hard process for me to go through because I was deeply entrenched in the things I believe. That's part of it too, is it's not just our beliefs. A lot of times we have an entire community around the things we believe, right? Whether it's politics or religion or sports. And so to break away from that groupthink, there's actual consequences in our real lives. And so that is painful.
Okay, that's fine. But what is it that makes you feel good about agreeing with something you have no idea about?
Because it makes you feel right, even if you don't know.
Oh, okay. That's great.
It's terrible.
That's about as shallow as it gets.
I get that, but I genuinely...
You're agreeing with something that you have no idea.
Or disagreeing.
What you're talking about.
Absolutely. That's the thing I was so frustrated with yesterday because, and this is where I'll defend Austin. He got that graphic up to promote the segment we were doing on the show in real time. It was pre-7:15.
I need to pay more attention.
It was pre 7:15.
But
I went up.
But I mean, like, if we're keeping it a buck, like, I won't even hold him. Like, I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I did.
But once I saw where you were going with it,
once you understood why I wanted to talk about
I'm
it,
like, oh shoot, I get it.
And we weren't even really talking about.
And no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Don't be like these other parody shows. If we're talking about the dude, we're talking about the dude.
Fair.
Okay. So, because we were like that.
We weren't re-legislating his coaching career. That's what that's what I mean.
That's relitigate that is
we weren't doing that. We were talking about other stuff.
And listen, and I don't want to. It's easy for two dudes that are responsible for the content to defend the content. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be that either. But I will simply say, the sequential building of what the discussion was, and I mean, you went probably 41 of the 50 minutes, 42 of the 50 minutes.
Not bad.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not tripping over that.
Yeah.
Like, again, man, life's too short to always need my pound of flesh. But what I did like was the level of there are some things that we have to understand, not only in the media, but the fan base and hopefully the most important people, the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do feel like it's important to learn from history.
Yeah, the past.
You don't necessarily have to be captivated by it or held captive by it.
Yeah.
But to understand it, to quote the famous Ghostface Killer, that's Killa, and a song with Method Man.
Okay. I like Method Man.
The song is called All That I've Got Is You.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a line at the very end. He's pretending to talk to his son.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about how it's important to understand where you've come from so you know where you're going and you don't lose the reality of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the greatest low-key lines that I've ever heard. And I think that was from the 80s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the balance in that is pretty important because it's portable, whether you're talking about your sports franchises or, medical staffers acquiring other companies or coaching young people or being a professional. Like, having the fundamental baseline to take on something. Because, oh, by the way, a big portion of that was talking about putting yourself in position where you can manage the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and how Coach Rule has done that.
And maybe the most important thing is getting over the fact, because somebody's going to have to do it if we want to win.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to have to get at the things that make Nebraska unique, not good, not great,
different.
The things that make Nebraska unique, how you view it can often determine your success.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It wasn't that fancy.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I want to say you're not very smart. I want to say you're not
acting very smart for sure.
I'm wanting to say you're choosing ignorance out of safety, but I didn't need to because I just felt like the people that are actually like relevant and being they know.
The people that listen knew what we were talking about. Like pretty clearly.
We're just doubling down. But I also don't let me sit here and phony baloney you that I understand if you just say to me, this damn DB, and I'm gonna eat it, even though I didn't. This is a we thing, but I'm gonna eat this though because this is how I feel. This isn't how you have to feel.
Okay,
young Ravi, with the hard to pronounce middle name. And multiple consonants and only a few vowels in your last name.
It's just the 2.
3 to 2, right?
That's not a terrible ratio.
It's a bad series deficit, though.
Seen worse.
Correct.
Been in worse currently.
Wow. That's a good point.
3-1. I don't love it.
Yeah. What would that be? I was going to think of a last name, but I'm not.
Ronnie Lott.
Ah, good call. 3 to 1. Great last name, too. The end all, if you're like, man, I see that coach, that name, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems with that. But what you don't get to do is be accusatory in terms of what we're doing.
Of what the content was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can't have it both ways. You can't choose to remove yourself from the content
and then still want to be part of the conversation.
And then critique the content.
Yeah.
Like that to me.
That's what made me mad.
That doesn't make any sense.
I get if some people don't want to talk about. There's some stuff we see it on the chat sometimes. There's some stuff that we talk about that not everybody's interested in. I get that. It's a 3-hour show. Not everything's going to be for everybody. I get that.
My man last night at the very and I like him because he is. I would call him a super fan, and he's good to me. And I don't want to dictate my feelings on whether somebody. I know you're like, yeah, you do, DB. Whether they're good to me or not.
No, it matters though.
But I did learn a lot about people. But at the very end of the day, and I threw my hands up. You know, he said, "Man, it's sad that I got to scroll back through all of these." He's like, okay, I understand. So basically, it was the labeling of the content's fault.
Mm-hmm. That's what a lot of people landed on. But here's why I was defending Austin. Because it came out in real time.
Hold on.
And he didn't know we were going to talk about it.
One moment, please.
Go ahead.
Sierra Boca, por favor. I don't think, and you said this during the segment, you're like, it's your fault. I can't let you off the hook for that. Because once you realize, this is the adult in me, once you realize that could be the issue, either go back and get the content or be like, man, my bad.
Don't even be part of the conversation. Yeah.
Sure, we can always blame it on something else.
Yeah.
Or
you can take responsibility.
You can just take responsibility.
Which, ironically enough, was
what we were talking about.
Was a large portion of the conversation.
Like it's not that hard. It doesn't have to be vitriol. We don't have to go 0 to 100. You don't
have to spend all day on Twitter.
Yeah, just
go back and get it.
You can,
or don't, and stop talking.
Man,
those are the options.
That's it.
I don't. I made this example. I don't watch movie trailers and then criticize the movie if I decide I don't want to go see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was a little. It was disappointing.
It was really disappointing.
But I had a couple people put it in context for me.
I will say I was proud of our listeners because I don't think anybody that listened actually had a problem.
Hey, that's one time where TK being hard-headed, like paid dividends. There
was several of our listeners in the mentions. TK was going hard.
His very first response was pretty much all you needed to read.
If you cared to get it right instead
because
of be right.
he wasn't accusatory.
No.
He just
explained.
He was real factual.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's all you need to read right there.
Very lawyery.
Oh, it was. Kept himself safe. Yeah.
Just like, hey, this is what actually happened versus what you're saying happened.
Yeah.
So either go back and get it or don't have this conversation.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right then, TK.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it because it was very clear who had listened and who was a regular listener of the show and understood what was happening versus who was just trolling on the internet.
And again, I'm cool with I'm out. The minute I see it, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
But like it just shows like the stalker jealous girlfriend thing just lets me know like I can't rock with you.
Yeah.
Because you can't rationalize with irrational people, and you clearly aren't very bright.
Yeah.
Right. And I always say people can make you dumber.
They sure can.
So that's a me choice.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I can engage. I can, because I want you to do well. Like I see it where you're trying to do with your
content and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appear to be a big fan. Like I want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But
some people don't want to be helped.
Man, I'm like, that is really second grade-ish.
Yeah.
That's what we're on.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little,
I was
I cheer for, and that's just me being a gump, right? Like, if I wasn't such a softie, it would probably have elicited a
you would have done like I did and done like an all caps quote tweet response.
Yeah, see, I'm not doing that. Because I wasn't angry. I was angry. It was pretty disappointing. I'm like, but then I had to go back and count because I was talking with my I would call him a mentor. He probably would just be like, we hang out. But he is about to catch a plane too, so I think he was like concerned. He's like, what I miss?
He's like, you cool?
I'm like, oh, this, and this. And he's like, oh, when I'm on the flight, whatever. So he hit me back later, and he's like, man, he's like, welcome to my world. I'm like, that's depressing.
Yeah.
He said, no, just be better. And I was like, how are you going to? That's what I say to you. Oh, maybe I need to practice. So I don't know if it's being a softie, but I do genuinely cheer for people. But I do see why we're in some of the conditions we're in.
Yeah.
Because it's really funny. It's like the Spider-Man meme. And it's like, oh, boy, this is toxic. This is such a toxic this or toxic that. Like, that's the new Toot Gap. And I'm like, I don't know. What kind of role we playing in this? Is it a we thing? Is it a you thing?
Yeah.
Are you toxic and projecting? Because that's a little narcissistic, but I'm just trying
to figure it out.
I'm just
You'll
talking.
figure all this out.
Funny. Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll figure all this out.
Funny you use that guy.
Yeah, kind of.
It's a funny dude.
It's a funny guy.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
Smart.
We enjoy Coach Roll around here.
He's a smart dude.
Certainly wouldn't have any hot takes.
No.
Good to see everybody.
Nah, no hot takes.
It's a whole different thing we don't need to get into.
I'm just
Hot take.
He said that?
Hot take.
Apparently. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk to a couple of our friends. At 8 o'clock, we've got Kyle Peterson from ESPN.
I just saw KP.
As we get ramped up on college baseball coverage kind of throughout the next couple of weeks as we're heading into College World Series season. And then, of course, at 9 o'clock, we'll talk to our regular Mike Schaefer, Husker 24/7.
KP must be out here tanning. You could tell he does a lot of Southeastern Conference. But he doesn't strike me as the pool layout guy.
Well, you got to do something during the day.
Hey, KP was golden brown at the funeral. I'm like, wow.
Staying crispy.
And it was weird, too, because it caught me off guard. And the first thing I said at a funeral was, man, you look good.
DB, making people feel good at funerals.
Should I take that back?
No, that's fine.
See, maybe it was inappropriate.
Nah, it's all right.
Wife looked at me like, hey, man, that's my, hey, you can have it.
I'm just saying. I got eyeballs, don't I?
I'm just saying.
That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla, Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Give me that cheddar, and Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys. You know, the media have been very, good to me, have been very supportive. So I appreciate all that you guys have done. It was a very interesting weekend, a big series against Xavier. I was very concerned that the players would get distracted with all the things that were going on. So I was very pleased with how they performed. Even though we did not win Sunday's game, we still played well. And with all the things that were going on before the game, and they knew there was probably some things going to take place after the game. So all in all, it was a good week for us. We went 3-1 against some very good competition in a very unique situation for everybody, myself, but more importantly, the players, having not gone through anything like this before. It's been a very rewarding season. I've enjoyed working with these players. It's one of the many reasons why I wanted to come back. We have such a good nucleus of veteran players, Nolan Sailors and Tate Gillen and Ben North, Kyle Hess, just to name a few. And they've done what I thought they were capable of doing.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
So we're really focused on that, and these it's like, for me, it's having like 22 sons in the summer, and I love these kids and men, and we do a couple things. One of the things is we try to have as many of them possible live under the same roof to create that bond. And when players are scattered all over the city and they see each other in the locker room and they see each other at a game, it's not that same bond. So they'll go to camp. Plug for camp, great bar, and it's like a fraternity a little bit. We make sure as many meals as possible together. We also want to give them the best nutrition possible, and things that maybe they don't know about, that they don't have a personal trainer for to pay attention to. So for me, and I tell them this at the beginning of every season, I want to raise great human beings. I want them to be a better person that they were before, that they are after. And I want them to go as far as they can in their career.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, you can come in, get those May monthly specials, whether it's those beef tachos I was telling you about yesterday, or you want something on a little lighter side, like a strawberry chicken salad, or maybe you're just coming in for a little drink. It's that summertime. Get some of that blackberry lemonade as well. It's a little boozy, a little breezy, depends on what you're going for.
Wait, a little boozy?
I think that's an alcoholic drink out there.
It probably is.
The breezy blackberry lemonade.
Is it Chase's concoction?
I would imagine.
I'll take it. Then Chase knows what he's doing.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds tasty. Get out here, enjoy your summer. Got some patios out here as well.
I mean, we're out here, right?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It's where the magic happens. That's what I've been told, at least.
Nah. A leader. Hello, Tim.
Oh, good old Tim. So, yesterday.
Yes.
All my trouble seems so far. No. I know you're a big Beatles guy.
Pretty overrated. Hot take.
Well, speaking of hot takes,
they did capture a generation by storm.
Speaking
and two countries.
Speaking of more than two, but yeah, definitely two.
Okay, John Leslie.
I'm just saying, if you want to get
knock it off. He's the biggest advocate of all time.
I thought it was John Lennon.
It's George Harrison.
No.
It's all Portuguese to me.
You know, Ringo Starr was on PBS because he was on probation.
Is he he's the drummer, right, Shane?
Yeah. He was on Shining Time Station for like 2 years.
Who?
Shining Time Station. It was this PBS show when I was a kid.
Are they still getting funding?
I don't know yet. We'll see.
That was not.
You were not a Shining Time Station guy?
No.
Yeah, he was
I don't
on.
have any.
The drummer of the Beatles was on there for 2 years.
Listen, I'm not about to just be listening to this dude talk about hot takes.
Because he got in trouble, and that was his community service, was being on PBS.
Oh, I got you.
Instead of going to prison, which I think is a pretty good deal.
Prison?
No, PBS over prison is a good deal.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Like if you had the option.
Yep, definitely taking.
I would rather be on,
definitely.
Daniel Tiger or something rather than
Who?
being Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Is that a PBS show?
Well, you watched it. No wonder you're weird.
To me, that sounds soft.
Yeah, it does.
I was a big Dinosaur Train guy when I was a nanny.
Did you watch any? Okay, I'm gonna need you to cut it off.
What?
Did you watch any of like the cool cartoons? You couldn't go back and get it because it's way before you. But
Yeah.
were you interested in like He-Man or Thundar or
So I was a big-
Dungeons and Dragons or Super Friends?
I was a big Spider-Man cartoon guy.
Okay, he's the softest of the newbies, but that's fine.
I was a big Batman cartoon guy.
You watch Marvel?
Not the cartoons, really. The cartoons weren't like on whatever channels we had. They weren't like on.
Okay.
The only ones that were on frequently were Batman and Spider-Man.
Because full disclosure, at 3:40 in the morning on Saturday going into Sunday.
This week?
I was watching reruns of the Super Friends.
Yeah, I think you have more channels now.
It's a challenge.
I mean, maybe I have access. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I had like 4 channels. So I think if you have
No,
more
but my point is you can go back and get it.
Yeah, I'm not going to, though.
Oh, He-Man is incredible.
I'm not doing that.
Shane, there are some animation and some drawings that are so cool. They need to bring it back.
Yeah.
The big-eyed, huge pupils, spiky hair, like that stuff is not cool.
Not a big anime guy?
No, like Zoe's into Big City Greens.
I don't know what that is.
Like this animation looks ridiculous. Gravity Falls.
I was a big Dinosaur Train guy.
Where are the cool cartoons? You guys just like guys like, and then they gummied up the Spider-Man is Amazing Friends. They made it about little kids.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I didn't see that.
What's new?
Mine was just a pretty regular Spider-Man cartoon.
Like Zoe, what we watching this morning? Big City Greens on the spacecraft. This show is terrible.
I watched some Arthur growing up.
Do you know what she can do?
What?
She can change the profile pictures.
Really?
Yeah.
She might be a little.
So I've gone from the old black dude on Soul. I've been Thanos. I've been a great white shark. And currently I am Daredevil.
Well, at least she knows the things you like.
Yeah. My mom is.
You're a big Daredevil guy, right?
I love Daredevil.
Yeah.
My mom, she hasn't changed it because I think she looks like her. She is the grandmother of the mom in Moana.
Mm.
Yeah, it's funny how she thinks. I'll screenshot it to you how her mind works.
Oh, Todd, I was a big Looney Tunes guy. I would do like Looney Tunes and
Todd,
Yeah, and I'd do like Animaniacs.
No, so the thing about Looney Tunes is you got to go old school.
Yeah. They would replay the old ones.
Like the new drawings.
No.
Like you want like Babyface Finster and
I don't know what that is.
Remember Muggsy and the group and
I don't
he
know
went down the rabbit hole.
It's the dwarf.
He was
The little person.
He was a little person, but he looked like a baby, and Bugs Bunny took him in.
Hold on, Babyface
Finster.
Fins.
And Bugs Bunny had a little soft heart. He was kind of like me, getting taken advantage of by the big bad people out here in the world.
I've seen Babyface. I didn't know that was.
And he's like,
Finster, shaving, tattoo.
Yeah, because Finster, while he thought Bugs was sleeping, had a little tattoo and he was shaving in the mirror in the old rabbit hole, which apparently had limitless space.
Well, yeah, if you're underground, you can just keep digging.
Kind of like boulders falling on people and being blown up and not dying.
That's a Wile E. Coyote situation there.
Yeah, he just walk around haggard.
I don't know. I've seen some coyotes. They're not that wily, you know.
Yeah, my mom's got a raccoon problem.
They're mostly skittish.
So my genius sister sent her like this contraption from like the 3000s. It's the most sistery gift ever. It is like,
why didn't she just hire
it's
somebody
something
to take care
that
of
Fred from Scooby Doo would build.
I watched a little bit of Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
It was okay.
I'm not gonna hold you. We actually like that's Zoe's thing on Sundays.
Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
it was all right.
I mean, because she
it wasn't my favorite.
Sleeps in till 8:00.
Yeah,
go to bed.
It was all right. There, you know what my favorite one?
Did you watch the? What's the one with the? It's brand new. The Cove one, where they kind of changed the animation.
If it was brand new, I definitely have not watched it.
Not a big cartoon guy. Huh?
No, I don't really go. I don't watch a ton of cartoons now.
Yeah, well, I bet that'll explain your cranky disposition.
I mean, no judgment. If you like cartoons, that's cool, but it's not really my deal. It's not really my deal. No, my favorite show when I was a kid, it was only on for a couple years, but it was called Hysteria, but it was all historical figures as like children, and they sort of made parodies of their historical like caricatures, more or less. I enjoyed it a lot because I was sort of a nerd when I was a kid, still am. But
yeah, there's no question.
But like I really enjoyed history, and so they had like a little baby Gandhi and like a little baby Napoleon.
Wait, why'd you start with Gandhi?
Because he had the funniest lines.
No bias.
No, there was one. There was one where like Napoleon and like I think it was Genghis Khan were in.
Oh, big Genghis Khan guy.
Not a huge Genghis Khan.
I
guy.
am.
Yeah, you are. He killed a lot of people.
It's not why I like you.
Oh yeah, different reasons.
Singular focus
on killing people.
Big singular focus guy.
Nailed it. You know, there's some other figures from history that had some singular focus that I wouldn't recommend.
Amazing Daniel. Hates kids, loves kids shows.
No, these are shows I liked when I was a kid. I don't still watch them, Amazing Daniel. But there was this episode where like Genghis Khan and Gandhi were, I don't know, it must have been like the Asian room. They were on the bunk beds together, on different bunk beds. And Genghis Khan was like, man, I'm starving. And Napoleon's like, well, you know, let's get some food or whatever.
I've never heard of this.
It's called Hysteria, but it's spelled like history.
That's fine.
And he goes, well, don't let Gandhi cook. He puts curry in everything. And I thought as a kid that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life.
You didn't feel discriminated against?
No, because I was like, my dad does put curry in everything.
Wow. You know what I never thought? In the Cosby Show that the kids actually, nobody ever wears their hat over their face where you can only see their eyes. I at no point ever thought that was funny. Although you probably aren't familiar with that character.
I watched a lot of the Cosby Show on the reruns.
Yeah, you know the dude with the pink hat, and he was like, "Oh, baby."
Yeah,
I'm like, let's not do that.
Yeah.
But there were also Tom and Jerry shows with like maids that historically wore house shoes and had big swollen ankles, and the dialect was off.
There was
Thomas.
I'm
like, you can't say that.
I think historically there's a lot of things about the Cosby Show that didn't age particularly well.
This was the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Mudfoot.
Fat Albert.
You know what we're here for? Lay some treats on us.
Is Fat Albert the hey guy?
Hey. That's my dude.
I'm glad you did the voice because I was going to.
I was a big Fat Albert guy.
I was going to, and I was like, I probably shouldn't do that.
You like school on Sundays, no class.
I'm kidding.
Are you excited about the He-Man remake coming out?
Yes. And this time, don't kill He-Man. Keep Adam alive.
Whoa, spoiler.
This was the one that just came out like 2 years ago. Or was it COVID? When that He-Man come out and they like
7 years ago.
Again.
It was like 2017.
You just had that in the Rolodex? This is unscripted.
I was watching the trailer earlier.
Okay. Well, anyway, they killed.
And it was loaded on YouTube 7 years ago.
Wow. Never ceased to amaze me. I asked you what you had for breakfast yesterday. It'd take you 13 days.
I don't know. I don't remember.
After the show, he'd be like, well, actually, I think I had.
Oh, boy. Boy.
You want to get to Wyatt here?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even see him on there.
Let's talk to old Wyatt.
Let's talk to Wyatt before we get to Kyle Peterson here. What's going on, Wyatt?
Oh, you want to talk cartoons? Because I'm all up in cartoons right now, if I can help you out.
What do we got? What cartoons are you all up in?
Oh, let's hear. Well, hey, the one that actually is really good, and that we're actually guilty of watching ourselves is Bluey.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started. That is a staple. Wyatt, I think we're done with seasons.
Oh, you're out?
Like, there was a stretch she watched it every morning.
Oh yeah, that's when an adult can watch that. Where it's actually enjoyable.
That's a lie.
Because there's some that I cannot stand.
So, Wyatt, you want a funny story? Bluey is so popular. He's coming a couple of days after Zoe's birthday. So he's coming for a Storm Chasers event on June 6th. Her birthday is June 4th.
You know, Bluey.
Oh, hold on a second. Bluey's animated, right?
Yes.
So who is coming?
The Bluey character. You ever seen like
like a mascot?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like the guy that did his voice.
I feel like you're trying to be funny.
No. I didn't know. Like I was very confused. I didn't know if it was like the dude that did his voice.
Shane, if Ravi has an Adidas imprint on his cheek, it's because I hit him.
It was 3 years ago, by the way, for He-Man.
So, Wyatt, like I actually I was going to be proactive and plan ahead. So last month, I looked at the VIP ticketing to get a birthday booth for Zoe. Wyatt, it was sold out in April.
Oh yeah.
In April.
Also, Bluey's a girl. So.
Oh, whatever.
The
British accent was throwing me. It's
today years old. I had no idea.
Also, they're Australian. But anyway, And is it Jen or Jen in Turning Red?
Wow. It's Jen.
You're still saying it, Jen.
No, I'm not. Wyatt, what do you hear?
Well, I mean, obviously, when Damon says it,
yes.
Wow.
I don't know. Say it again, Damon.
No.
One more time.
No.
One more time.
No.
Just one more time.
I'm just surprised you like that movie.
I did, and I turned it off.
It takes place in Canada, so I'm surprised you even like it.
I love Canada. Go Edmonton.
She's not a huge fan of Canadians.
That's not true.
Oh, my bad. Montreal, the Canadiens.
Wow, they
The
have a great open. Wyatt, how many times have you seen Turning Red?
Why are you asking Wyatt how many times you've seen Turning Red?
Because Wyatt and I have common ground.
Oh, okay.
At least 10 times.
Okay. So were you awkward? Were you feeling awkward for me as I was trying to explain what that was about? And at what point did you know it wasn't called Red Panda?
I mean, I think I knew right away because I saw the title.
She turns into a red panda, though, right? Like, that's the thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he wasn't that far off.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't have that awkwardness yet because for my girls are too young to even begin to have that conversation. So I have no issues. I can just take it very literally. Like, she just turns into a red panda, and that's that.
Oh, no metaphors there at all?
No. I'm just more worried about.
Okay, so I'm right with that, right? I felt really awkward after that segment. I was like, I hope I'm not wrong.
No, it's about like going through
you're
puberty
right,
and
but-
all that comes with it
All right.
for a young Canadian
I'm more
lady.
No, I'm more like, yep, that's a very accurate portrayal of an Asian family and an Asian mom. But yeah.
Wow.
What was the mom's name?
John?
Jen. No, so that's the guy. That's the
dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was his name, Wyatt?
I don't know. I forget.
Well, here, it's J-I-N. What's his name?
Jen.
There you see?
Jen.
Jen. I said it like Wyatt. Jen.
No, you just said Jen again.
No, I didn't.
You just said Jen again.
No, I didn't. Wyatt, I appreciate you getting me in more trouble. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, and Ravi, if you ever want to go to White Castle, bigger road trip, just let me know.
I saw that movie, and that's actually really funny.
Jen.
Because we look like
J-I-N.
Wyatt and I look like the characters from that movie. One of them's Indian, one of them's Asian.
Yeah, cool story. Thanks, Wyatt.
So he'd be Harold, I'd be Kumar, I think.
I'm not even messing with you. Which, by the way,
that's a funny joke, Wyatt. It took me a minute to get it, but well done.
Speaking of funny, not funny.
Yeah.
I watched, I don't know, it was when Boston was up like 16.
Mm-hmm.
I dabbled with Gran Torino.
Oh, yeah.
Clint Eastwood was actually hilarious. He was like, he was really funny. Like, and I'm like, why am I laughing so much at this movie?
Because you're wildly racist.
Wow.
Kyle Peterson coming up next.
It's not true.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
It's a great question. I alluded to this in the press conference, but Dr. Lee and Adrian, I think I align with their philosophy, their passion, and everything that comes with their leadership. So I was comfortable with that. I was inspired by it. Also, just the winning nature of the athletic department. They're obviously doing something right here, and I want to be a part of that. I want to try to help create history with the women's basketball program, and that part was really appealing to me. I want to be around winners, and winners are here. City of Omaha. I think the city of Omaha is a fantastic city. It's right in the middle of women's basketball mecca at the moment, with all the Caitlin Clark, and it's located in a region where you can recruit some really good talent from, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Minnesota, Colorado, some of those ties.
Give me that cheddar, and Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
It does. Anytime you miss it, I mean, it's the ones you miss that it's like, ugh, if we would have won this game or would have won that game. Absolutely. And, we had so many injuries last year, and the fact that they fought through and we battled and we were able to win 30 games, we were just shy. I feel like we were a bubble team at the end. So for all the returners to keep working and all the newcomers to come in, and Ava said it really well. I mean, this team started, even with the transfers that transferred in this summer, they started really working hard for this day last July.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We'll be joined shortly here by our friend Kyle Peterson from ESPN.
Our friend and yours.
Well, mostly your friend. I don't really know him.
All friends and yours.
I don't know what that is.
I wonder if I can still turn around one of his fastballs.
Could you back in the day?
Yes.
I'm going to have to ask for verification on this story. Kyle Peterson from ESPN joins us, college baseball analyst. Kyle, how are you this morning?
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Oh, there's that voice. KP, do you do that on purpose? You're like, this guy does radio for a living, but listen to my TV voice. How you doing, buddy?
No, I have but one. I'm good. I'm really good. I to get nuts.
You're especially with this SEC tournament, and if you have to go on the road, I'll get to that in a second. I told Ravi, I said, man, I felt awkward. I said when I saw him at the funeral, the first thing I could muster with that great tan, you could tell he's been in the Bible Belt, is, man, you look great. And I felt like, I don't know how appropriate that was given where we were, but that was the first thing I could say. Man, you look fantastic. How you feeling?
Well, I feel tan. And fat, so, I guess if you're gonna be fat, at least you should be tan.
Wow.
The first one takes a while to solve. The second one we can take care of in a couple weekends. So, I'm good, man. It's always crazy, and then we had state soccer quarters last night.
Yes,
They
you
won,
did.
So we'll go to what do we got? I got Tennessee, Arkansas on Thursday, then drive back Friday morning, make a 2:00 game, and then have graduation. Apparently, it's a good idea to have a graduation party at your house. So that's Saturday. And then
we went through that. I'm glad you're cool, or maybe you're not. And you're just playing it off. But man, that turned into a knockdown drag out with us. So good on you.
Ask me. It's great. It's perfect. They don't ask me. They tell me what's happening. They tell me what to pick up. The only stressful thing I have is I got to go pick up 2 kegs on Saturday. Other than that,
for the old grad party, huh?
Yeah, well,
gotta have something for the adults.
Exactly. There'll be strict instructions, which I'm sure will be followed.
2-drink limit. It's like dollar beer at Jay's night. Hey, I'm sorry. Why are you've got one pinned against your forearm, one pinned against? Damn! Now it's a grad party. We're not at the bar. Easy.
We talked about this. So yeah, and then graduate Sunday, and depending on if we're playing the finals, either go to SEC tournament Monday night or Tuesday, and off we go.
So how are you kind of capping this? Is you got a couple of teams that have gotten hot late. You want to believe in Georgia because of their offense, and then you're like, I don't know. But apparently, winning on the road in the SEC is miserable. How do you try to cap this thing?
I think it's pretty wide open, which is great. From the SEC tournament standpoint, the difference this year is everybody gets in. And the top 4s get a double bye, and 5 through 8 gets a single bye. So, there's some of the top 4s that don't play till Friday.
Yeah.
And 8 teams play on Tuesday. That's a pretty significant advantage. And the other advantage is you can set your rotation up for the postseason when you go in, because the earliest, if you're a top 4, the earliest you're going to play is Thursday. So, you can go whatever you plan to do in the postseason, you can kind of work it out through there. Now, granted, if you get beat, it doesn't matter because it's single elimination. My fear is just fan bases and whether they're all going to show up. Whether you take the chance to spend the money and go, if your team's playing on a Tuesday and you're a 9 seed, well, that 9 seed could potentially be in Omaha.
Yeah.
But if they get beat on Tuesday, they go home. Jackie Bradley Jr. was with us last weekend, which was a blast. And it was funny when South Carolina made their run, when they won 2 and then they almost won a 3rd. They were horrible in the SEC tournament. Mm-hmm. Horrible. Every year.
That's when Roth threw like 81 innings, right, in Omaha?
Yeah. And nobody knew his name the first year. Who's this guy? Yeah, and he ended up pitching the big ones. So it matters because it's a trophy and fans go nuts and everything else. But the reality is, as far as does it help you win a national championship or get to Omaha? No, it really doesn't. If you're super bubble and you can play your way and get in, great. But the chances of doing that in this tournament, the way it's set up right now, are pretty minimal.
So, Kyle, I'm glad you brought up the bubble and kind of what that means within the context of the SEC tournament and standings here, because we had this discussion a little bit last week with, I think it was Aaron from D1 Baseball.
With Kentucky.
And and so you mentioned, the 9 seed in the SEC tournament could end up being in Omaha. And that doesn't seem crazy just from my vantage point here, but you get a little bit below that, right? You get to, because I think Ole Miss, if I'm reading this right, would be the 9 seed if it were started today. But then you get kind of down to that next group. You got your Kentucky, Oklahoma, Florida, Mississippi State is probably where I'll draw the line there, where you're sort of in this below 500 in the conference. The overall record still is pretty good, but not as gaudy. How do you weigh those types of teams who obviously are playing really difficult conference games weekend in and weekend out versus somebody from, we used Creighton as an example the other day, where they basically have to go out and win every series. Otherwise, they're not even going to have a shot. And how do you weigh those two things? Because they're both very pressurized situations, just in a very different way. And if you're the NCAA committee, which one would you personally value?
I guess I think they're all created differently. The challenge is you can easily go back to who'd you play out of conference and who'd you beat out of conference. And I mean, for all the teams you rolled off, Florida's got series win against Florida State, series win against Miami non-conference.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. And eye test, even though Florida, honestly, right now is down there leadoff 2-hole and 3-hole guy, eye test still works, especially from an arm standpoint for Florida. Creighton is interesting for me because RPI is looked at differently based on where you are at in the country and based on what conference you are in.
Yeah.
So look at A&M, okay? A&M is a team that can play in Omaha.
Yeah, with attendance, yeah.
They could. I mean, A&M beat Arkansas in a 3-game series. They won at Tennessee. They beat LSU, who's now number 1, in a 3-game series. And then they've had some weekends where you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, they're 10-17 in the conference, right?
Hammered them. 10-17. Missouri was 0-24 in the conference, and they went in and hammered them 3 straight. So A&M's RPI is 57. They're not getting in.
Yeah, 1 behind Creighton.
If Creighton's RPI is around 57, Creighton's getting in because it's looked at totally differently. Like, hold it, you had a chance to boost within your league, and you weren't able to do it. And if you're Creighton, well, you really don't. And also when you look at Creighton, like everybody else that people are talking about to be an at-large, well, they beat them this year. They beat Xavier. They beat St. John's. They beat UConn. And they finished at Georgetown this weekend. So, I mean, I'll go Creighton specific. I think Creighton may get the benefit of the doubt. They finished at Georgetown. I mean, it'd be great to sweep them, but you got to win 2 out of 3. If you win the league outright and you go in and you look at it and go, hold on, you like Xavier, we beat them. You like St. John's, we beat them. You like UConn, we beat them. You better like us because the RPI may not say it, but ultimately they took 2 out of 3 for Nebraska, which I know is not a top RPI team. But if you really get in the committee room and you start looking at it, Creighton should favor it. Now, you got to go win a series this weekend, but Creighton should favor OK without having to win a Big East tournament. For me, now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it should.
Kyle, let me ask you something. Just for instance, right? I look at Oregon and I can't figure them out. It just kind of depends on the weekend, but I think they're going to have a distinct advantage, as let's say if they're a host going at their place. And I look at a team like, who I think is a similar comp in Auburn. They've won 3 in a row. I think they got 16 wins in the conference. Not very good on the road, but again, if you're going conference affiliation, is that a fair comp where you take a look at a team in a power conference in the Big Ten, although not near as deep, or capable championship caliber teams at the top? But I look at an Oregon and an Auburn, and I'm thinking, well, this isn't football. Hard to compare. Like, is that a good comp for how you may value RPI within said conference?
Yeah, from an RPI standpoint, I think it is. I think for anybody, when you start, I guess, comparing 1-to-1, I think you look at conference standings, but then you also do really look at non-conference. And Oregon's non-conference, well, outside of Oregon State, really isn't very good. They swept all 4 games they played with Oregon State. And that's going to matter when you get to the end of it. Auburn's a pretty cool story. I mean, Auburn was not good last year at all. And that's not exact. Now, I mean, listen, the environment is a little bit different to have the ability to turn things around right now because of NIL. You can flip it pretty quick. But Auburn's a team that has been really good in league. They're another team that beat Oregon State non-conference. They went and won a non-conference tournament on the road.
They've been really good at home, too.
They've been great at home. Yeah. And so I do think, I think Auburn ends up, they get Ole Miss this weekend. I think it's there. I think they go on the road this weekend. But I think Auburn compares more favorably right now. But I don't think I don't think they're that far behind. And listen, Oregon, as it stands right now, I think it's 3rd in the Big Ten. Now, there's some pretty good clubs in the Big Ten, especially at the top. It doesn't help that Oregon State went in and won 2 against Iowa last weekend, and they tied the 3rd because of a travel deal. That doesn't make the league look that much stronger because you look at it, Oregon pounded them, Auburn beat them.
And everybody uses Iowa's schedule against them, right?
Well, I think you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won a ton of games, and they absolutely deserve to be in the conversation. If you win the league, that should matter because they don't control who they play. But who they do play this weekend is going to make a difference because they play Oregon. So I think this weekend's going to go a ways to figuring out what Iowa is, and then ultimately, is Oregon a top 8? I think they got a real chance.
Kyle, as you're looking at the SEC and some of the top teams in that, I look at Georgia, they're 10-10 on the road. I look at Auburn, they're 6-9 on the road. I look at Vanderbilt, they're 10-9 on the road. I look at Arkansas, 8-7, LSU 6-7. Is there anything that you're a little concerned about some of these teams that are so home heavy in terms of their record? I mean, Georgia's like 28-3, for instance. And when you start getting into, they'll obviously be away for the SEC tournament, but most of these teams will be at home for regionals and supers. Is there any point where you say, maybe this doesn't translate to Omaha, or what do you do with those road records that are pretty lackluster compared to the rest of the season for them?
Well, I think first you go to their power numbers because
and the ballpark, yeah.
Now it's a little bit different now, and I don't think the ballpark effect is what it used to be in the past, at least as significant. I mean, we've seen more home runs lately, which is good, but home runs across the board are down like 8% this year in college baseball. So, I mean, it's not the craziness that it had been, but Georgia plays in a very offensive-friendly ballpark now. They're built for that. They're recruited for that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's where you play most of your games. So I do think it's significant advantage Georgia if they can play at home all the way to get to Omaha. And they don't only have to hit it out of the ballpark, but it helps. And then I'll flip it and go to a team like Vanderbilt, where they're starting to hit more home runs. Their ballpark is somewhat offensive, but I wouldn't call it one of the more offensive in the SEC. But they steal a ton of bags. I think there's four guys in the lineup with double-digit stolen bases. They defend at a really high level, and they're going to hit enough home runs that them leaving that place at some point probably isn't as big of a difference, and they really pitch it, which is going to help you in that ballpark. Then I think it's a little bit more. So, yeah, I think the home road thing, I go first and foremost to what are your power numbers and potentially how can a ballpark affect it. And for a team like Tennessee, who's probably not going to, maybe they probably will host, but they're not going to be a top 8. And a Georgia, yes, you play in very offensive ballparks. You're a very offensive team. Ultimately, Omaha can have, I would even say, more of an effect this year than it did last year just because home runs are down.
So I don't want to use Vanderbilt and steal the time because you just talked about them. Let me give you another team. When you get them away from the ballpark, they've got a losing record on the road, but they're 4-0 in neutral sites. A lot of people listen, it's LSU, so I get what's to like. Is that a team who you're willing, because of how they play, to overlook where they play?
Yeah, I mean, listen, LSU hasn't been that massive home run team. Yeah. They've been good, but it hasn't been like off the charts, gorilla ball, hitting a million home runs. They're a little bit of an enigma. They don't have a great top to bottom offense. Yeah, they play great at home, but I mean, that place is like a unicorn. I mean, crazy the stuff that happens there. The stuff that happened there this year after 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 different times. So they always will have a massive advantage. Here's the deal for LSU, though. When they get here, they got a massive advantage, too, because half the state shows up.
Yeah.
So their ballpark advantage travels as much as anybody. Arkansas is going to travel. If they get it, I think Arkansas is the best team in the country. And if Arkansas gets here, they will show up. It's a 6-hour and 20-minute drive. I'll make it on Friday. It ain't far to get up here. And so I think for those, it doesn't limit ballpark effect, but if you load it with your own fan base, and we've seen this lately with the SEC teams that have rolled in here and bought out half the city when they show up, you start feeling like you're playing at home.
Yeah, that's interesting. We've been to Fayetteville twice for AAU, and I'm like, it's an easy 6-2. It's a couple of turns and you're there. So I get it. Is it Texas's health issues, kind of their concerns with what's going to happen on the mound that has you given a little pause to the Longhorns?
No, I mean, they don't. They pass the eye test as somebody that you say, hey, yeah, I mean, they're a top 10, 15 team in the country and a team that's got a chance to get here, but not a whole lot of wow factor offensively. They're good. What Texas does, as well as literally anyone in the country, is defend and control the running game. And it goes back to Schloss. And Max Wiener, their pitching coach, is really, really good at varying looks. No one has stolen third base on Texas the entire year. No one.
Jeez.
If you went and watched Vandy run wild on Tennessee this weekend,
yeah, well,
they stole third base 3 or 4 times.
Is this the double steals?
And they just, I mean, you want to talk about green light. I mean, I don't know. It was neon. Like, you get on, you're going.
Yeah.
And what Texas can do is they can control facets of the game that don't necessarily get looked at right away, but directly affect the outcome of the game. They lost their ace. They're not going to get him back. Max Ballou was a Big 12 Player of the Year last year, broke his hamate bone, it was a wrist issue. He should be back. They should get him back for the postseason. I don't know if it'll be SEC tournament. That's a big offensive boost because that's their best hitter. They got a freshman 5-star safety playing left that gets better every day. Kid that's supposed to be a high school senior right now, Joan Williams, who is so much fun to watch. And so some of these is you get Ballou healthy, you get Williams more at bats. They're going to hit enough, and their pitching numbers are still very good. But I think that the thing with Texas is I'd be shocked if they beat themselves. And there's a lot of other teams. Tennessee beat themselves this weekend. I've seen other teams beat themselves this year. Texas ain't going to do that.
Let me flip conferences because they've got a huge one. I'm a diehard Carolina guy, and I'm constantly let down. But I will say this: you talk about teams that aren't real sexy top to bottom. It's offensively just okay. They're grimy though, about as grimy as a Carolina team could be. They got a huge series with FSU this weekend to close it out. When you look at the ACC. And I get it. FSU's hitting 325 as a team. Who's best built to crash the SEC party if there's a showdown in Omaha?
I think Florida State is because I think they have 2 aces. And historically, we talk about pitch and depth a lot in a regional, because especially if you get beat, because you could come back all the way through and you're playing doubleheaders and everything else. You don't play doubleheaders in Omaha. You get time off.
Yeah.
So the depth of a staff, you don't need to be 11 or 12 deep. You got to be like 6. If you get 6 real dudes, you got a chance to run through it and essentially not use anybody else for meaningful innings. Doesn't always happen that way, but it definitely can. And Florida State goes ace-ace. And if you go ace-ace, then I think you have an advantage when you get to Omaha over everybody. You probably have an advantage the whole year, but I think the advantage is bigger in Omaha because of the off days.
Who's the next best?
If there's somebody within the ACC?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut you off, but who's the next best team in the ACC then?
I still think it's Clemson. And Carolina's right there too, but I still think it's Clemson. I would, and this is totally dependent upon whether they can pick the ball up and throw it to first base. But if Wake Forest can do that and they get in, Wake Forest could be a pain because they can be very offensive. There's some power arms. Their defense has not been good this year. In fact, they're kind of a head scratcher team. I saw them against Clemson. And Clemson beat them, but got done. And you're like, I think the team in black's probably better, but they haven't been. I think Wake could be a surprise team when they get to the postseason because it's kind of like Florida last year. You get to the postseason, you're like, I don't really care what happened for the 4 months before this. We're 0-0. And then Florida was one of the best teams in the country for the next 3 weeks. I'm not saying Wake can make the same type of run, but it wouldn't shock me if we look up and Wake's playing in the Super with a chance to go to Omaha.
That's kind of disappointing, Kyle. I'm thinking I finally have some arms on the back end, and I get it. You've got a stud herd, but you get one back in Chapel Hill, and I'm thinking they've always been kind of this pretty sexy team. This is kind of an ugly. This is not a traditional Chapel Hill team. So I'm like, I'm cautiously optimistic that they won't believe their own hype because I've seen that for the last 20 years now.
History would tell you that whatever I just said probably means that North Carolina's going to make one hell of a run.
I am curious to see if they can slow down FSU, though, just to give me a little bit of a precursor for how I think the postseason is going to go. Because that offense for Florida State is, pretty ridiculous.
They can get humming pretty quick.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Kyle, let me ask you this. As let's say there's going to be, most projections have 11, 12 SEC teams in the field right now. If I give you national champion, give me SEC or the field. I know you see a ton of the SEC, obviously pretty high on them. Which one are you taking there?
I mean, I think given recent history, it'd be crazy not to take the SEC.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think you're going to see some kind of surprise fireworks in the postseason.
You like Irvine?
Because I don't think there's a. Yeah, Irvine's more offensive than West Coast teams usually are, and I think that could play well. I mean, they've stubbed their toe a little bit towards the end of the year, but yeah, I think Irvine can make a run. But I think it can be. I like the Sun Belt. I like Troy. I like Southern Miss. I like Coastal.
Coastal's
I think you're gonna see. I think you're gonna see some surprises because I don't see. I mean, maybe you see the gap of guys coming out of the bullpen throwing 96. And the SEC is going to have more of those guys than anybody. I mean, go look at Mississippi State's bullpen. Mississippi State will roll 3 guys out that honestly look like they're big leaguers right now from a stuff standpoint. Mm-hmm. Now, they may not control it and everything else, but they'll go 97, 98, 97 out of the bullpen, and you're like, hold on. They just fired their coach? Like, these guys are good.
Yeah.
So I think that – I mean, I think Arkansas is the best team. That being said, they had to win Game 3 at LSU to not get swept last weekend. But I'd be shocked if it's really chalky in Omaha this year. It just doesn't feel like it will be.
Kyle, as you sit there, you go, okay, Arkansas is the best team. You like obviously some of the bullpen arms, that gap in Mississippi State versus Arkansas there. How big is the gap to you between Arkansas and whoever you think the second best team is in the SEC?
Oh, minute. I mean, LSU's number 1 in the country, and they just beat them. You know, Vandy's in that conversation. Georgia's in that conversation. Auburn's in that conversation. No, I think it's minimal. You get a shortstop that's made 4 errors the whole year. You've got an offense that is different from what we've seen in Arkansas in years past, to where they're very I would say in recent years past, to where they can be really offensive. And they're always going to pitch. I mean, Zach Root's a first-rounder. To get Gage Wood back last 3 weeks ago, I guess. I mean, he first pitched at games 98.
Is that long enough to be stretched out for him?
It will be, yeah.
Okay.
It will be. He went 50 or so 2 weeks ago. I didn't see how many he went against LSU, but yeah, I mean, he can give you 5 or 6 when you get into the postseason for sure. And then they got just bullet after bullet coming out of the pen. So I think the gap is fairly small, but if you just go, okay, most complete, who do you think it is? From everybody that I've seen and watched, I think it's Arkansas.
All right, let me get you out on this, KP. If we're on Bubble Watch, for you, who's the best of the 3 between? And I get what Kentucky just did to Oklahoma. Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Florida. Who would you take of those 3?
Oh, Florida without a doubt.
Okay.
And I'd probably take Oklahoma second. I know what just happened, and I'd probably take Kentucky. Kentucky's hard to. They're hard to buy into, and this is like it's intended to be a compliment. I don't know if it will sound that way, but Kentucky wins more games than they should win.
Mm.
They just do. And it's approach. They will do absolutely anything at absolutely any point. I mean, Minge is one hell of a coach, man. I would love to see what Kentucky would look like with uber talent. Because I think he'd get confused and he wouldn't really know what to do. Because like all of the other stuff that they do, do you do as much if you can wait for the 3-run homer? I don't know. Florida's back healthy on the mound, which is big. They were good again. Florida started 1-11 in the league, guys, and if they sweep this weekend, they could host. Like that's if you want to look at a second half team, Florida's been pretty good in the second half, and they've played some pretty good clubs. And OU, you got, Kyson Witherspoon could be the first college arm taken. So you start with that. It's a similar offense to Kentucky to where they're going to pressure you on the base pass. Very different than Florida. They're going to pressure you on the base pass. They go first to third a ton. Witherspoon is a true ace. He's a big leaguer, and he should be there for a long time. Not as much pitching depth for OU, but as good an ace as there is in the league. So, but all that being said, I'd go Florida, OU, Kentucky, even though last weekend would make me look like a total idiot.
You the man.
That's our guy, Kyle Peterson, ESPN SEC Network. Kyle, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy graduation this weekend.
Man, it's like you're navigating. It's like you're navigating Florida State's lineup, having to juggle this week, man. Best wishes.
I'll be watching. See you, boys.
All right,
Good
buddy.
talking to you.
Yep.
That's Kyle Peterson from ESPN. Omaha's own Kyle Peterson.
Couple kegs for the old grad party. Huh?
I know. I was like,
Getting it in.
all right. Maybe I'll stop by. It's not so bad.
Oh, shoot.
There were no kegs at my grad party.
I can't remember if you could order drinks here or not. Could you?
I think so.
Probably.
I don't know if that was during or after. Because we hung out for a while after, and I don't know if during the proceedings people were allowed to.
I know everybody raved about the food. It got
I think you must have been able to, because the rest of the restaurant was still open, so you could kind of squeeze on back there, get yourself a drink,
meander,
get yourself some libations. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
Give me that cheddar, and Rico. Big money and rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys. The media have been very, good to me, have been very supportive. So I appreciate all that you guys have done. It was a very interesting weekend, a big series against Xavier. I was very concerned that the players would get distracted with all the things that were going on. So I was very pleased with how they performed. Even though we did not win Sunday's game, we still played well. And with all the things that were going on before the game, and they knew there was probably some things going to take place after the game. So all in all, it was a good week for us. We went 3-1 against some very good competition in a very unique situation for everybody, myself, but more importantly, the players, having not gone through anything like this before. It's been a very rewarding season. I've enjoyed working with these players. It's one of the many reasons why I wanted to come back. We have such a good nucleus of veteran players, Nolan Sailors and Tate Gillen and Ben North, Kyle Hess, just to name a few. And they've done what I thought they were capable of doing.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
we're really focused on that. And these it's like, for me, it's having like 22 sons in the summer, and I love these kids and men, and we do a couple things. One of the things is we try to have as many of them possible live under the same roof to create that bond. And when players are scattered all over the city and they see each other in the locker room and they see each other at a game, it's not that same bond. So they'll go to camp. Plug for camp, great bar, and it's like a fraternity a little bit. We make sure as many meals as possible together. We also want to give them the best nutrition possible, and things that maybe they don't know about, that they don't have a personal trainer for to pay attention to. So for me, and I tell them this at the beginning of every season, I want to raise great human beings. I want them to be a better person that they were before, that they are after. And I want them to go as far as they can in their career.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM, Ravi, Lulla, reminding you, if you're heading to work this morning, make sure you got that seatbelt fastened and make it click. It prevents injuries and saves lives, but only if worn properly. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Not a lot of seatbelts being worn on the hot take market last night when the Dallas Mavericks got the #1 overall pick.
Isn't that crazy?
In the NBA draft. Our boy Matt DeMarinis was on it.
Losing his mind.
So he was in a special version of hell yesterday because the Chicago Bulls very easily could have had that ping pong ball.
Yeah.
If the coin flip had gone the other way, just based on how that particular standings worked out and where they were in that.
Where did we get away from showing what actually happened with the Bulls? Was it balls then envelope or envelope then balls?
So they used to do both.
No, I know.
At the same time.
Yeah, I don't.
Simultaneously.
Okay.
Back in the day. Because I used to watch these pretty,
back in the day?
Back in the day. Pretty religiously, I would watch these because, again, nerd. But I don't know. I also don't think that the ping pong balls helped rid anyone of their conspiracy theories. I know the envelopes certainly don't. Because people are like, oh, man, they got the frozen envelopes, and then, got the Patrick Ewing deal, which is, I think, which I think why they moved to the ping pong balls, and then for a while it was like the ping pong balls, and then they'd hand you an envelope.
Why do they not let us see it anymore?
Because I don't know, but I don't know that
kind of low key just went away. Did we think it was theatrics and we're like whatever?
I think they were just trying to get it out. I think they realized maybe it's not the television product they hoped for.
Oh, now we'd like to see it.
Anybody that believes it's a conspiracy, though, like seeing the ping pong balls isn't going to stop them.
But wait, though. So, okay. Now, this is funny. This is really funny.
Okay.
And you didn't have the stones to say this to Maddie, and I get it. He was.
It seemed like he needed a minute.
This is like ASAP Ferg, another level. By the way, that's a song that we probably need to put in the system, but Shane is gutless. So.
Only mustard.
No, you're exactly right.
That's all we have.
I'm on another. No, I gotta stop. Tourette's, man, when the music kicks in. It's a great song. We warm up to it.
Oh, I know that song.
But anyway,
nope, not that one.
You were the one selling me before it even was like super popular.
Mm-hmm.
I think you went down the whole TikTok rabbit hole, and you're like, hey, the casino bid and tanking and wanting to move the franchise, and we know they want the new arena. We're just not sure they even want to end Dallas.
I think it's either or. I think if they can't get the new arena, they want to move.
Yeah. So, Nico's been off my line.
Yeah.
You sold me on the conspiracy theory.
So there's different here. This is different.
No, but hang on.
Okay, go ahead.
So you don't think that the NBA wanted to throw them a bone?
So here's where I have a problem with it.
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
There's two separate things here.
Draw straws.
There's two separate things here. Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. They should do just a giant rock, paper, scissors tournament for the #1 overall pick.
Well, there's analytics on.
I'd be here for that.
On how to do it.
There's analytics on lots of stuff. It doesn't mean we stop playing the games.
Who's taking their time to do analytics on rock, scissors, paper?
Nerds. No. So here's the difference.
Have you put together any javelins lately?
Javelins?
Yeah, that are aerodynamically sound.
No, why would I do that?
I don't know.
Got to keep watering the bamboo.
You got to probably Google that. Go get it.
I feel like this is an Indian thing.
Revenge of the Nerds. Just Google Revenge of the Nerds javelin.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. You'll know why I asked you.
So there's a difference when everything is sort of in the owner's control, right? So when I'm looking at it, I go, okay, if this is a team, if this is an ownership group that really wants to get back to Vegas, how would they do that? And then maybe it's a conspiracy theory in terms of their motives, but I can look at it and go, okay, there doesn't really have to be a plot for this to happen. It just has to be they want to get back to Vegas. They don't think they're going to get the thing, so how do they make it easier to get to Vegas? Boom. Trade the guy that
or get the new
them.
arena in Dallas.
Well, if they don't think that's possible.
But so humor me here.
Yeah.
You get Cooper Flagg in the number 1 pick. What makes one? What's the most natural inclination?
What do you mean? Stay in Dallas?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So what? So, but you're operating under the supposition that
here's where it's different.
It's a foregone conclusion that they won't be able to get a new arena
because that was what was coming out of Dallas at the time. Was that it was not looking their way.
So if you get the number 1 pick, then you're no longer you have to take that out of the equation because that's part of the conspiracy theory. If you get the number 1 pick and you get Cooper Flagg, it's very advantageous to build the new arena.
Maybe.
Ooh. Ravi, you're like one of one.
No, hold on. Listen.
Okay.
Cooper Flagg doesn't make the taxpayer burden any different.
Understood.
So that's my issue is from a basketball standpoint, yeah, it makes more sense to build the arena with Cooper Flagg. But from a municipal standpoint, it never makes sense to give public money to arenas in those situations.
Who is your favorite franchise?
The Warriors right now.
Okay, so what was the supposition when they built the new arena?
They wanted to have a good team to put in the arena.
Okay, and you have a good team to put in the arena, and the arena was going to eventually pay for itself at some point, right?
That's what they always tell us, and it almost never does.
Okay, but they're not from Mars, or this is not some foreign concept.
No, but they always.
It's been done before.
Yeah, but that is
a lot.
The thing that they always lie about. It is.
Okay.
They always lie about how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
How much it's going to cost the city versus what it's going to cost owners. Somehow the city bill always goes up.
I'm just telling you, it's not real. It's
and
not
the owner
real
bill never
feasible to think that everybody can run the Vegas and support a franchise.
I agree with that.
Right.
I agree with that. I do. I do think the NBA eventually wants to get to Vegas, so that's part of it. And I think when you've got casino owners from Vegas, that there's a direct connection there. It's not just some mystical wonderland to them. There's a real connection there.
Big mystical guy?
No.
He may still be incarcerated.
I think I meant mythical, and I went mystical there instead. But
they both work.
Yeah, it's fine. But
mythical lets you off the hook, though.
There's difference for not knowing mystical.
Yes.
There's a difference, though, between owners.
I don't chew no swine, but eating Popeye's chicken and watermelon to the brine.
Yep, don't know that one.
That's mystical.
So absolutely. Feels like he's maybe being a little.
He made a chicken sandwich yesterday.
Yeah,
it looked unbelievable.
Squirrel.
A little bit of that W side.
Squirrel.
No, I think it was made out of chicken, not squirrel.
You don't have the heart because you loved your dog so much, and you don't like me. But do you know the dog in Up when he? Do you know the dog's name?
It's Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will never call me Doug, though. I know. I get it because of the
squirrel.
The affinity you have, but do I strike you as a little Dougie?
Oh my!
I think somebody already taught you how to Dougie. Seems like you got that down already.
Hey, no, I'm just playing.
But no, I think there's a big difference between owners putting a plan in place that is not best for the place they currently are, and a league rigging things for a certain franchise. I think there's a difference there.
I don't know.
We're talking about layers of conspiracy.
So you're like, wow, you buy stock in aluminum foil sometimes, and
that's because there's certain things that make sense and there's certain things that don't.
So Flagg to Dallas, you're the most iconic draft pick going right now, not being buried in Utah or Washington.
Here's what would have made the most sense to me if the league was trying to stack things in their favor.
Yeah, you're such a contrarian. It makes my acid reflux kick up.
Just call me Amazing Daniel.
Let's go, baby.
Lock in, Dougie. Here we go.
Getting tossed like a stir fry.
So I think the most and maybe this is me. I think the most advantageous thing for the league would not be to put Cooper Flag in Dallas to reward them for being stupid or for reward them from sending a star to LA, which is what people, that's kind of the other half of this conspiracy theory. I think the best thing for the league, if they wanted to rig it, would be to pair up your new brightest star with who you want to be the face of the league in Victor Wembanyama. Then you've got something cooking if San Antonio gets the number one pick.
So
to me, that's the thing that would have made more sense.
Right, because you think that El Jefe would endorse and sign off on his brand new head coach coaching Flag and Wemby?
Yeah.
Because Flag's game is so complementary, so he could play with another big that has a lot of his same attributes.
You stack good players.
Okay.
That's what
makes
you do.
Zero sense.
You stack good players.
Makes zero sense.
I mean, we're seeing Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson play together.
Yeah, but guess what? Because Mitchell Robinson plays so much like Cat.
Listen.
That makes no sense.
Wemby doesn't play like Cooper Flag.
They're
more similar than those guys, but they don't play the same game.
Okay, so you left me no margin for error by saying same, so I'm going to say no bleep. But you're talking about offensive initiators, long guys that can play on the perimeter, both can handle the ball, both very good shooters, both can rim run. They have lots of versatility within their frames.
Yeah.
So it's not a stretch to say they're pretty like-minded. And to that point, Mobley and Allen don't play like each other. So, you got to do better.
We don't have a problem.
I need you to be better.
We don't have a problem when wings have overlapping skill sets. We don't have a problem
because
with guards
they're wings.
We don't have a problem
You
with guards.
need two.
You have a 4 and a 5. That's two bigs.
Are you really gonna die on this hill?
We don't have a problem when guards have overlapping skill sets.
So you think it makes more sense to put Flag with Wemby?
I think if you're talking
the
about
NBA?
the league, yes.
Okay.
Like faces of the league, yes.
All right.
Because we've never seen that work before. Two big guys together.
Yeah, again, you can dumb it down to make yourself seem smart. That's not what I'm saying. They clearly have similar enough skill sets.
I don't think it's a problem to have overlapping skill sets when both have offensive skills.
So
neither one of those guys, if they were both Mitchell Robinsons, yes, I would agree.
Yeah, if they were both Duncan and David Robinson, I would agree. But those are, according to big guys, because that's all that matters.
I mean,
but very different skill sets.
I think their skill sets are varied enough and wing-like enough that you're able to get away with it. You're not talking about two old-school bigs here. You're not talking about two Jared Allens or two Mitchell Robinsons. You're talking about two guys that can do things on various areas of the floor. They don't have to start with their back to the basket. You can spread them out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be pinned in that way.
Mm-hmm. Right. Sounds good. Play together. I'd love to watch that.
I think it'd be great. I think you should trade for Giannis too.
Yeah.
Throw him in there.
Get
Throw him in the
bigs.
mix. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's get all the bigs. Just do it.
And while you're at it, you should make a move for.
Go get Ben Simmons too, so you can put him in there.
And Embiid. And then, that's a squad.
Well, Embiid can't stay healthy, so I don't want Embiid. You can go get Rudy Gobert though.
Why?
Let's go get Rudy, Wemby, Cooper, Giannis.
I think you should burn this segment.
And Ben Simmons. And just have a good old lineup there. Let's go.
Don't be long.
So
start D'ing up.
So just to land the plane.
Yeah.
No conspiracy theory was to be had because number one, Vegas is the ultimate goal. And number two,
those are different conspiracy theories.
And number two, if it's not that, then and the league really wanted to league it, they would put Flag with Wemby.
I just don't know how Dallas benefits them that much. Oh. So even if you don't like the San Antonio, I don't see how Dallas getting a guy that people think is generational. I don't see how Dallas benefits them that much. Dallas isn't that important of a market for the NBA. I don't think.
What San Antonio is?
If you don't think it's San Antonio, it's not about San Antonio. It's about Wemby. If you think Wemby's the guy, then you want Wemby to be successful.
You don't want to share?
I think you want your guy to be successful. The NBA's always invested in faces of the league. That's how they've always operated. Whether there's Magic and Bird, whether there's Jordan, whether you think it's Ant now, Kobe, LeBron, whoever, pick a guy. They've always invested in the faces of the league. So if you think they're rigging something, it makes sense it would be either one of their major markets, so LA, New York, Chicago. I don't think Dallas is that important to the league as a market, and they don't have anyone there that you want to be the face of the league anymore. So why help Dallas? Like,
So-
what's the win there for the league?
Well, it really isn't, because according to Kobe and TK, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world is not going to rig a draft and ruin their own reputation in the process. Not that we've never seen that done before, Kobe. I mean, there have been no reputable firms to ever cheat in business. It's just never. And so I don't want to accuse I don't want to accuse Ernst & Young, because it's
allegedly
never been done before. And as my man Thomas says, Ernst & Young advised their employees to cheat on an ethical examination that they need to become accountants. They had to pay $100 million fine because of how prevalent their cheating was. See, that is what happens when we assume that because somebody's called something, that's how they act. When in reality, everybody has something to gain.
Yeah.
Those are very diametrically opposed concepts to the same firm that, for whatever the reason, you trotted them out there as though it's like, hey, because E&Y is out there, this has got to be on the up and up. I mean, why not?
I didn't say anything about E&Y.
I mean, that doesn't make it legit.
No, I'm not riding with that. I think it's because it doesn't make sense for the NBA.
Dallas is a huge market.
I don't think they're that important to the NBA. I get size-wise they're a large market. I understand populations. I don't think they are an important market to the NBA.
I'm going to need you to take a whole mulligan.
So where's the cutoff? Like 4?
And it's in his mind. It's
5?
Yeah, I can't wait.
No, it's an arbitrary.
I can't wait to read the group text.
I mean, because Dallas is what, 8?
I want to send this to
I
Jacob.
think
Matt
Dallas
right
is
now.
like 4 or 5. They're up there.
Yeah,
population-wise. I don't think I think Miami.
Does that make sense to you?
I think Miami's more important of the NBA city than
Would you
Dallas.
stop?
I do.
Because they attract so many free agents.
As a franchise.
Because of the. I mean, all I hear about is state income tax and being advantageous to Florida. And you know what they do? They rack up so many good free agents.
I would say the same things about the Clippers. That's a huge market. The Clippers aren't an important franchise in the NBA.
Do you know why? I hate the analogy. I get it. At first blush, it makes sense. But do you know why the LA Clippers aren't a valued franchise?
As Lakers.
Because you have the LA Lakers.
And you have the Houston Rockets. You have San Antonio Spurs. You have that area of Texas covered.
They ain't Dallas.
Okay, cool.
San Antonio's not Dallas. It's just a bad comp.
Are the Knicks important?
I don't even think Dallas cares as much about Dallas as you do.
Who's you?
In terms of the NBA, Dallas is a football place. I don't think.
I think it's an important market to the NBA.
Agree to disagree.
I mean, just the merit though.
I don't think it's an important market to the NBA.
You literally just said they have Houston and San Antonio.
Yeah, they have Texas covered.
One of the most notoriously small marketed franchises in NBA history. You used as a comp to the top 5 market in the NBA.
San Antonio is a more important market to the NBA than Dallas. San Antonio is a better franchise, a better part of the NBA than Dallas is. And Houston covers the population part.
Okay.
They aren't that far apart. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think Dallas is an important franchise in the NBA. I don't.
Okay.
I don't think the Clippers are an important franchise. I don't think Sacramento is an important franchise. Again, small market. I think there's a lot. I don't think that. I mean, the Nets aren't an important franchise.
I think you should go out on a limb. How do you think they feel about Utah?
I don't think Utah's that important market
man.
Either. Sorry, I brought up Clippers, and that wasn't good enough.
No, you brought it. No, you brought. No. See,
I bring up the Nets. That's not good enough.
That's disingenuous because that's how you kind of wiggle your way out. I specifically said the Clippers is a poor analogy because you have the Lakers. Same as San Antonio is a poor analogy because you have Dallas.
What about Houston? You're ignoring Houston.
I mean, Houston is what it is.
Houston's a huge population in the same state.
It's still not Dallas.
It's a few hours away.
It's still not Dallas.
I understand that.
Okay. So
Inglewood's not Brentwood or wherever the two stadiums are.
Big OJ guy. So why haven't the Knicks had more number 1 picks?
Because it's not rigged. That's my point. That's my point.
Okay.
Like, if it was going to be rigged, the NBA would rig it for franchises that matter. That's the entire point.
No, the entire point you're trying to make is that Dallas doesn't matter. You're operating under that supposition. I am not.
Okay.
So what you say doesn't make it so because you have a different vantage point.
So if Dallas matters and Cooper Flag goes to Dallas, what does that do for the NBA? How does that help the NBA?
Well, I don't know. Are you ready for this?
I'm waiting for it.
They have the number 1 pick and a budding superstar in a top 5 market. Oh my God! Oh my God! Why would they do that?
Let's get him somewhere else.
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
Why would they have the number 1 pick and a budding phenom in a top 5 market? It makes no sense.
See, this whole thing was just to get you to admit that Cooper Flag's a phenom. Now you love him.
That's not true.
I mean, knowing Nico, he's going to draft Ace Bailey anyway. This won't even matter.
Harper Jr., come on down.
Coming next, we're going to talk to Mike Schaefer, Husker 24/7.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
It's a great question. I alluded to this in the press conference, but Dr. Lee and Adrian, I think I align with their philosophy, their passion, and everything that comes with their leadership. So I was comfortable with that. I was inspired by it. Also, just the winning nature of the athletic department. They're obviously doing something right here, and I want to be a part of that. I want to try to help create history with the women's basketball program. And that part was really appealing to me. I want to be around winners, and winners are here. City of Omaha. I think the city of Omaha is a fantastic city. It's right in the middle of women's basketball mecca at the moment, with all the Caitlin Clark, and it's located in a region where you can recruit some really good talent from, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Minnesota, Colorado, some of those ties.
Give me that cheddar, and Rico. Big money and those like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
It does. Anytime you miss it, I mean, it's the ones you miss that it's like, if we would have won this game or would have won that game. Absolutely. And, we had so many injuries last year, and the fact that they fought through and we battled and we were able to win 30 games, we were just shy. I feel like we were a bubble team at the end. So for all the returners to keep working and all the newcomers to come in, and Ava said it really well. I mean, this team started, even with the transfers that transferred in this summer, they started really working hard for this day last July.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, reminding you that where you bank matters, and that's why you should bank with someone who's invested in your local community. Credit unions embrace the philosophy of people helping people, meaning they reinvest in the communities they serve. As an example of this, Centris Federal Credit Union has invested over $250,000 last year alone into the communities, and their employees donated over 1,900 volunteer hours. Be a part of a credit union that invests in where you live, because they live there too. CentrisFCU.org to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA. As we wait for our friend Mike J. Schaefer here to join us on a spirited and having a good time here on a Tuesday. What's wrong, DB?
Nothing. I'm just trying to figure out the logic.
You look like Jordan Hudson when she's letting the CBS interview get away from her and she doesn't like it.
Wow. That is not where I thought you were going. I still don't understand that. But you know what I did think was very interesting?
What's that?
Because I'm a big body language guy. I was trying to figure out the dynamics of Dollar Bill and Jordan's
that relationship.
Daddy sitting next to each other at the old pageant.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think they're talking about?
I don't know.
The Great Depression?
They're not that old.
Nom?
Maybe Nom.
More like what's the
Nom's more in the wheelhouse.
Like, what's going on?
Maybe they're talking about the good old days, going to college in the 70s and, all sorts of stuff. I don't know. Let's ask Schaefer.
I hope Carolina knows what they're doing.
We've got.
Well, actually, I don't really. I mean, I care, but I don't care.
We've got Mike Schaefer here, Husker 24/7. Schaefer, what do you think Jordan Hudson's dad and Bill Belichick were talking about at the pageant where they're sitting next to each other? Do you think they have a lot in common?
I don't imagine they have much in common other than love for Jordan Hudson herself.
Different kind,
yeah.
But sure, yeah.
Well, sure, but people can display love and affection in wildly different ways, I suppose. But other than that, no, I can't imagine there's maybe since they're probably both older men, they can discuss World War II and their thoughts on the tactics used in the Second Great World War, or perhaps they can talk about Amos and Andy and the great radio programs of yore. Yeah, something like that.
Schaefer, you don't have TikTok, do you?
No, of course I don't. You know that. You send me TikToks and I can't watch them.
No, so I just needed clarity. Not that you don't have access, but I'm not saying like you actually TikTok. I'm just saying like you can't see any TikToks.
No, I don't have the app. I don't plan on getting the app. Because I made a determination that I just wasn't adding any more social medias. Somewhere around like 2013, I wanted Instagram to be the last thing that I ever had. So.
I'm lousy on Instagram. I barely use it. I just
that's all right.
I totally just. But the kids, the young people, man, they're all over IG. With announcements and stuff. But anyway, where I was going with this is there's this thing going on my algorithm, and there's a lot of guys that are kind of hip to it, but it's now that those of the red hair persuasion, like gingers, are now considered to be minorities, like real brothers now. And so we've been going through this, and you say a lot of things, Schaefer, where I feel like we're kind of kindred spirits. So I'm like,
were you wondering if Schaefer was a ginger? Is
I'm
that
like,
what you're?
Yeah, I'm like, maybe there is something to the red tinge, right?
I don't know. There's not a lot of hair to discuss whether it's brown or blonde.
Where I was going,
like
Rob.
a dirty blonde. It's not gray or white yet, so I guess there's that. There's just not that much of it. And tucked under a hat, it looks really clumpy, and then you got this widow's peak here. So no.
Dave, you're all right with me.
He's trying to make you a brother so bad.
He's just funny, guys. I just like laughing.
Just for clarification purposes, Bill Belichick is 21 years older than Jordan Hudson's dad. She could actually be Jordan Hudson's dad's dad.
So he's like 70. Is he 75? Is that how old?
73.
Yep.
Okay. So 52. So he probably wouldn't have a lot of thoughts on Amos and Andy, really. or maybe even the Second Great
Do you
War.
think it's awkward for?
Why did you pick Amos and Andy? I'm just curious. I mean, it begs. I was trying to move on, but it begs a follow up.
I mean, it was like the first radio program that kind of came to mind to me. Not that I listened to it as a youth or anything, but
more like a Smothers Brothers guy to me.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm just saying, how awkward would it be if, like, you have a daughter and she's an adult, she's 24, you're in your 50s, and then you're basically being scolded by someone who's old enough to be her grandfather who's dating her. Like, that's got to be awkward for Heath, who I believe his name is.
They're still dating, right? They're not engaged.
As far as we know, but she does apparently run his entire life.
So, but like, does he have to ask the 52-year-old dad for the hand in marriage? Because that would be a conversation.
That's incredible. This is incredible. I mean, this is.
I'm just fascinated by the whole thing. And Schaefer, maybe we'll talk about Nebraska today. Maybe we won't. It's hard to tell. But I'm just fascinated by the whole thing because you've got Pablo Torre on one hand insisting that North Carolina wants to ban her from the facility. Then North Carolina comes out and says,
well, she's not even an employee.
That's certainly not the case. She's a welcome visitor. And then Pablo doubles down and goes, no, my reporting's right. And not only that, they're concerned that he may never coach a game for North Carolina because the buyout drops from $10 million to $1 million in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, everybody thought it was because he was going to get an NFL job.
And maybe it's because they're like, we don't know if we want to deal with this Jordan Hudson person, so we're going to create an exit ramp here for ourselves. And meanwhile, apparently, also according to Pablo and reporting he's standing by, his family's worried about the fact that she's got some weird, like, leverage or blackmail on him that's causing this whole thing to happen. Like, this is the best professional football coach of all time, probably, and he's caught in some weird, I don't know, catfish situation. Like, I don't know what's happening.
All I'm saying is if a 30-year gap wasn't good for Shannon, 50 can't be good for Bill. Like, as a dude, it's just you hate to like, what good could have come out of this, though? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, I know one thing.
Like, what are we doing? Knock it off.
You asked what good could come out of it. From Bill's perspective, I imagine there is one thing he considers good about the situation.
That's great. 60 seconds.
What would that be, Ravi? Would you like to go into detail?
I'm guessing the conversation.
I'm sure they have a lot in common.
Or her PR expertise, you know?
See, that's what's funny. Very subtle. It's a great follow-up, Shay. Great follow-up. Hey,
I was just curious.
Maybe he wanted to update his wardrobe. You know, she seems to be a fashion icon.
Well, she's a publicist, right? Maybe he just felt like what he missed during his run in New England was better PR. And if he would have had somebody like this,
then Tom wouldn't have gotten so much damn credit, and he'd still be in New England.
Exactly.
It's just wild times, man. I just
Sorry about that, Austin.
Okay, AJ. See, that's why we can't take him anywhere. How do you know they pillow talk? Bill probably needs a nap.
I was like, that dude's going to sleep immediately.
See in the morning. Hey, Mike J. Question about Nebraska, and can you get kind of a plan of attack for how these guys are hitting the road on the recruiting trail? Because it seems like it's not so much regional as much as they've zeroed in on targets. Does that seem accurate?
Yeah, that's sort of how I would take it. I don't think this is going to be a really big class. So we're talking about the 2026 class. You know, I'm kind of projecting anywhere from like 12 to 15 high school kids. So if you've got 4 committed right now, you know, and I don't get the sense that it's going to be, if it is more than that, I can't imagine it's more than like 17. So there's just not that many targets, and it feels almost like part of it is, hey, we're gonna have you hit these high priority guys, and then somebody like Terry Braden, we have you out in North Carolina. We want you to hit as many spots as possible. Then we're going to jump you over to Atlanta, where we've got some defensive guys that we want you to talk with, but there's also some 27, 28 defensive linemen. You can go meet with those guys. Hey, we've got Addison Williams coming in from Omaha to Atlanta, and he's going to be over there looking at some DBs. you can team up at this school because there's some high priority people for future classes. It almost feels like they know the 30 guys that they're going to pull from for the 2026 cycle. And so the rest of the focus is just getting them set up for 27, 28, where maybe they're going to have bigger high school classes once they have a better understanding of what the numbers are. I think they have a unique situation where it's a small outgoing class and a young roster, so they don't have to take a lot of high school players at the moment, leave some spots open for the transfer portal later on. And it's also the first cycle where you can go in-home in the month of April and May. And so that in itself slows things down a little bit, because if you want to really utilize your time and you want to say, see Deacon Schmidt over in Windsor, Colorado, you're going to go to his school, and then you're sticking around for that evening for at least an hour or two. So you're not, it's just not the same as the old evaluation period. And so they are attacking it differently. And it does feel like they've got, like I said, the 30, 35 names, and you're hoping to land 15 of those. So I just think it's condensed down to the point where they don't have to cast a wide net. You're not seeing them pop up at random schools locally because they don't have to necessarily do that, or their focus is somewhere else. It doesn't mean that they haven't been through Omaha, because they went in home with Darian Jones, and I'm pretty sure someone stopped by to see Jace Reynolds as well. And so they've been around in the Metro, but it's just not as visible as it's been maybe in the past here locally.
Dave, so I'm fascinated by the philosophy of this, because we've kind of vacillated as both a fan base and I think as a program to a certain degree on what recruiting philosophy was most important. Because, you look back to the really successful years, 90s and early 2000s, you go, okay, that's a lot of national recruiting going on, even though people like to point to the local kids, which fair enough, but a lot of national recruiting going on. And then it was all about locking down the 500-mile radius. And then I look at some other programs that I think are interesting, whether it's Stanford or Notre Dame or Michigan to a certain degree, that really do have to recruit nationally for whatever reasons. Do you think this is an approach that Nebraska might take moving forward? Or do you think it's specific to the size of the 2026 class?
I think I need to see where the data goes in future years. I just think this is a really unique recruiting cycle, because Matt Rule has said in the past he doesn't want to have to tell people something different later on. So I think they're being very judicious about how they're attacking the 2026 cycle while they're waiting for rules to kind of be put in place for what the roster looks like, or what you can do in terms of NIL, and what money they're going to have that they can promise recruits or what have you. So I just think this is a unique and different cycle. And so because of that, it just hard to know that anything happening this year is what it's going to look like in the future. It does feel that they have the kind of the general concept of hit really hard the best players in the states that surround Nebraska, hit hard the best player in Nebraska, or the best players in Nebraska. And then we really want to be in Florida. We really want to be in Atlanta. We want to be back down in Texas. They have those certain spots. I think Phoenix has become an area where they're back into that. Maybe they haven't been as much recently. You got the Van Bosch.
That seems about as west as they want to go, pretty much.
Yeah, they don't really spend a lot of time in California, though they're going to have a few guys that are going to take official visits from the state there, but they don't. You look at the staff, it's not like they have a ton of connection out there. I mean, Tony White was as connected as a coach as you could have out in California, and they didn't pull much from that. And so I just don't get the sense they want to use their time out there. I mean, they're more likely to spend time in Idaho these last three cycles than they have been in LA, which is wild. But it's just they're going where they see certain talent and where they feel connected.
That's pretty funny, but it's not, because I 100% agree with you, because that's you got a nice O-line target. You want.
I think there's certain connections out there
that resides there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they
weird
have,
to say out loud, but that's probably pretty factual.
Yeah, well, they're going to go after the players that they have the relationships with. Kelvin Obed is someone that they've had in several times now. I think they're still chasing, a couple different schools maybe there at this point, but they're certainly in the mix for that. And I think they want to land an impact tackle really bad in this class. Obviously, Jackson Cantwell announces today. Nebraska fell out of that one early in 2025. But they, I think, would love to land a couple tackles in this cycle, and I think they would really love for it to be Kelvin Obit to be the top guy that they're able to pull out of that group. I think it's going to be hard, though.
We're talking with Mike Schaefer, Husker 24/7. Schaefer, as you go through the 2027, and you mentioned how they're starting to kind of lay the groundwork, or not starting, but continuing to lay the groundwork there. Has there been any interesting moves, offers, visits that have piqued your interest at all, or names that you're keeping a particular eye on?
The thing they keep doing, regardless of what class it is they're getting offers out to the players they perceive to be the best linemen in the country, and they're getting those guys to visit. I mean, we had an update on our board from one of our guys that's down in Texas who saw Kennedy Brown, who's a lineman in Houston. He's going to be a 5-star in the 2027 class. And when he was talking with Kennedy Brown, the school he kept talking about was Nebraska, and how much of a relationship he's built with a Jamar Mosey and things of that nature. And so they continue to tell you that they're all about the trenches, and then show you that they're all about the trenches with how they've gone about recruiting offensive line. I think they have been as aggressive as possible. Jake Hildebrand, another guy, I think it's Mark Meadows down in Florida. I mean, there's just a lot of linemen from the 2027 group that are going to be in the top 247 recruits in the country that Nebraska's already had on campus. They had the number 1 tight end on campus. They have, obviously Trey Taylor is committed. They've had high quality running backs for 27 on campus. They've done a nice job working out early. It's just going to be, can they build off of success in the 2025 season? Can they build off of successful relationships like Jamar Mosey being even more into the recruiting picture, or a guy like Terry Braden building off of a good, first year with his defensive line, and now he's able to get out there and make these connections. I think he's a high energy guy, and so he's been really well received. Whether talking to a guy out in North Carolina last week, Rashad Streets, he absolutely loved what Terry Braden had to say. So there's just a lot that they are able to do moving forward. And it all kind of works off of the idea that if they have a nice season in 2025, they could be really set up for a nice high school call in 2027. So I think they're putting their chips with the idea of, hey, 2026, we're not going to be able to make up a ton of ground on guys that we haven't already built relationships with, but we can get a great start on 27. And if we play well, we could have a really nice thing going here.
So Mike J., let me ask you something. If this thing is going to go right in 2025, because I'm with you, and I've long said if these guys win in 2025, I think they could potentially blow the doors off this thing, because they already have the mindset of an elite top 20 program, right? They very secure in who they are and what they're doing, even though the wins haven't been produced. So I like that part of it. And if they win, it's really, really dangerous, because I think the sky will be the limit because they're set up for it. If they're going to get there, they got to do it on the field. So for you, are you more interested in, and maybe you'll get into if it's more important, but are you more interested in the combo of Butler and Addison Williams to springboard this thing on the defensive side, or the combo of like a Phil Simpson and Terry Braden, work their duality to springboard this thing if Nebraska is going to be where they need to be defensively?
It's tough because it all has to work in conjunction, right? Like you want to isolate any one position group on defense, and it ignores how it affects everyone else on the defense, or how that group affects the play of what's in front of them. If you have great coverage, you're going to get more sacks. If you have great pressure, you're going to get more interceptions. Like, that's the theory, right? So they have to complement each other. I think with how the team is built, I think it would be if Nebraska just jumps off of the page of guys that are able to rush the quarterback or can win up front. If Terry Braden and Phil Simpson are able to set the edge, and not themselves personally, but if their players are, and they're able to kind of build that out right away, I think that's the best version that Nebraska's defense could have. I think if it's the other way around where you're playing more through your back end, you're a little more susceptible to teams that can probably run the football on you a little bit, and then that becomes a tougher game flow and all of that. But I just think if the question is where I'm more intrigued or where Nebraska has to be more successful, I think it's the two guys that are largely involved in the product of getting after the quarterback. I just think the best teams in football have to win up front defensively, and it's hard to have a good team or a great team if you're just okay up front. And so I think the key to a lot of 2025 defensively is how fast that defensive line comes together, and that defensive front can win against teams and can put pressure on quarterbacks or take away the run.
Jay, so we had this conversation with Sam yesterday, and obviously I've been high on the defensive line group and what they can be.
That was interesting.
And his concern was, okay, maybe they're more disruptive, more explosive, creating more splash plays, but he was worried that there might be some teams that could sort of beat them up and run it down their throats.
It was kind
Am
of
I characterizing that or no?
Yeah, it was kind of a hypothetical on what could ail. It was more in, well, if they're not going to be good and you're thinking they're going to be active, this is maybe the counterpunch.
The thing that would hurt them.
Yeah.
If that's true and that they could be more susceptible to the run than they have been in past years, and for context, I believe they were 8th in the country in yards per game last year allowed, 17th in the country in yards per carry allowed, so top 20 rush defense. They were sub 40 in both sacks and tackles for loss, which I consider the more disruptive stats, right? So let's say those two flipped and you're top 20 in the explosive plays, closer to 40 to 50 in the running game plays. A, is that defense better or worse in your mind as you're picturing it? And B, who on the schedule do you think is actually built to take advantage of a team that is built that way in terms of be able to hurt Nebraska?
Are you on the premise that they want to be more aggressive? Because I think
it definitely comes across that they want to be more aggressive, but we don't know if that's, or I don't know, I should say, if that's because they have to be aggressive because they can't get there sending just 3 or 4, if they have to be aggressive because they're worried about holding up in coverage, if they have to be aggressive because that's just a tenet of a philosophy that John Butler wants in his defense. There's just information that we need to learn in that regard. As to if you flip the idea of the havoc stats with more of the rate stats, like the first part of that, doesn't some of that, not to be annoying with the question that you're posing, but isn't some of that going to be directly related to the type of offense that they have?
So I say no, but this is why. Because the easy answer is yes, but independent of, like, I think you can talk about defensive stats without extrapolating too much on the offense. Like I think he's talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, the way it looks.
Sure.
Right, where I think it's maybe you don't want to put Ty and Nash on the move as much because they're really good at the point of attack. But since we want to be more multiple and we're a little lighter, quicker, maybe we'll do this, right? So, or I don't know, twist or stunt. The famous. So remember after Wisconsin, and I can't remember his name, kept scrambling on 3rd down and hurt us in overtime.
Not Van Dyke.
Mordecai.
Yeah.
And Coach Rule was like, hey, I don't know why, we had a lot of twists going on. We had some stunts, like we were opening up passing lane or running lanes for the quarterback. That kind of caught me off guard because I don't think he was happy with not just, pass rush integrity and letting the guy out of the back door, right? Conversely, this year, a couple years removed, it could be, well, this is how we're going to play because we think we're bendy or twitchy enough. So, hey, knock yourself out.
And it's going to be harder to escape because we're more athletic.
Right. So then you get more havoc plays, but you could give up a little bit more on the ground, like you mentioned, a draw or something like that, where it's independent of the offense. I think, but
I'm thinking of in the sense of like, okay, if you're last year.
Remember that when he said that?
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, did we call too many stunts?
Last year, Nebraska's averaging 3.37 yards per carry allowed and right at 101 yards per game allowed. So my thought is, okay, that's 3.37 is 17th. It's top 20 in the country. So if you want to go top 40, 50, you're talking about closer to 4 yards per carry allowed. But my thought is, okay, if you also become top 20 in tackles for loss, then that 4 yards comes maybe on a 2nd and 12 instead of on a 2nd and 7, and you're in 3rd and 8 instead of 3rd and 3. Like, that's where I kind of look at it independent of offense, where the Havoc stats can make it so whatever you're giving up in the, I'll call them rate or consistency stats, doesn't actually make you any worse. It actually makes you better still.
Yeah, I suppose for me, some of it was what I asked about with the offense is if Nebraska has an offense that's capable of scoring more than just a few touchdowns a game,
then other teams are passing more anyway.
Other teams are going to be passing more, so their running stats aren't going to hurt you as much. So if your yard per carry allowed is in the 40s, but teams aren't running the ball as much because they're already trailing and they have to play catch up. Like that, some of it is, you know, the marriage of how it looks and what the end result of the stat is can be wildly misleading if Nebraska is a team that's able to put up points offensively and you can't just run the football. So you catch teams by surprise or you take yards, but Nebraska is already up by 21 points. So if they give up 6 yards on this carry, it doesn't matter, that kind of thing. So I definitely get where both of you are coming from, particularly with the idea that they want to allow less leak outs, or they couldn't do as much or didn't do as much up front because they didn't have defensive linemen that maybe allowed for that,
or they may have felt like they didn't need to take a lot of chances
because
of the way they played up front.
They're steady,
and it protected the back end, right? Like there's lots in there.
Yeah, the problem with that though is then you get into the situations where it feels like when you struggle on 3rd down, it's because the quarterback has just enough time to allow his receiver to break right into that route and drop it in for the whatever amount of yards it's needed there. I mean, it felt like when they had 3rd down issues, it's because they couldn't generate the pressure to get the ball out quick enough.
So I think that's the thing that's giving me nightmares.
Well, it's fantastic too, because we've heard these guys talk about playing complementary football.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep myself safe, so I don't have to put myself out on a limb, I'll say things like, oh, well, they'll just average between, let's just say they get 74 snaps a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't really get into like the points or whether they're behind, but it is ultimately going to matter, because the thing that we're not missing, and which is why I have him up here today, is if your special teams is even remotely steady,
just average,
it allows you to play so free on both sides of the ball. If your special teams can just graduate from kicking game to special teams, like you can play completely different,
because you're not always hedging for impending doom.
Right.
Like both sides of the ball.
You're not assuming negative outcome.
Like both sides of the ball, we're sort of always hedging for impending doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a slogan that you can use for Nebraska football to describe the last decade. Hedging for impending doom.
I think
it's also a metal band name. I think
it's a preview show for the upcoming season. You could just have an episode every Friday called Hedging for Impending Doom. And you talk about what's going to go wrong every Saturday for Nebraska. It'd probably be your most listened to show, if I'm being honest. We'll be locked in on it.
We might have to name that your segment after the negative Nelly we were last week.
It wasn't even that negative.
I mean, compared to my sunshine pumping you were, but that's okay.
Look, I was handing Kool-Aid out by the barrel full last year, so I'm still just licking my wounds a little bit.
So the antithesis, he went from running through walls and to parts.
I'm just saying we got to be careful out there.
No Kool-Aid for you.
You know, you can get too much of something and it doesn't go well, then here you are.
Again, like if you allow yourself, and I get it, it hasn't been just this brief stint with this staff. It's kind of been a thing where if you just get special teams for once, just for one season, and it graduates from kicking game, it's hard to kind of envision because it's been so ingrained. But if you just,
I mean, just watching a guy get a snap for a punt and it gets away cleanly and the gunners aren't 20 yards away, it's probably going to bring tears to the eyes of people sitting in the stands.
Yeah.
I mean, allegedly, we've got a rugby punter now, too.
And it's not
secured.
We don't even know who the punter is right now.
He's Schaefer's right again. It's not even specific to just this staff.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard to free your mind. Right?
Like,
Well,
it's
at
always
some
been-
point, you just need
yeah.
the visual to
How
go
long ago
along with
was
the
Benico?
idea.
2005?
2004, 2005.
20 years?
I mean, it was before that.
Santino?
Yeah, it just hasn't been. And even when you had DeMornay Pearsonell, it's like, well, how far out can we kick this field goal? He's good from like 40 and in. So there was a phase that was part of the special teams, and it's like, well, don't kick it deep because we can't cover it. Like, it's always been something. At least as I
Especially
remember.
long for the Alex Henry years.
At least as I can remember. We once said, well, the only reason we're good on special teams this year is because Bo finally took it over. Like, that was a real thing. Do you know how long ago that was?
2013.
Jake, I know. I don't. You're like rubbing it in.
I mean, Bo was fired a decade ago, so it's
Your youngest son would have been at what age? He'd have been like 4 in 2013.
Yep, he was 4. I appreciate that, Schaefer.
It's good context.
Happy birthday, Micah.
Boy, he's on a roll. Okay, but I do have to ask this though, Mike J. Real quick. People get mad at us when we don't talk enough recruiting with you, so we X that out. Everybody gets mad at us for everything, Mike J. Guardians, you've got better start than you thought, or about what you thought?
It's probably a little better than I thought, but they haven't been good. Like, that's the thing is they're I don't know, 20.
Know. You're tough.
24 and like 18 with a negative run differential.
24 and 7.
Yeah, their bullpen hasn't looked great. The starting pitching has struggled at times. The offense has 39-year-old Carlos Santana in run-producing spots where his slugging percentage being under 400 is of no help to anyone. They just keep winning in inexplicable ways. I don't know how sustainable it is, but the AL Central is good, so they're going to be challenged. And if they want to make the playoffs, they're probably going to have to make some corresponding moves in the summer. So, but
I mean,
Jose Ramirez is amazing. That's basically the given, and then everything else is kind of how they can pull it together.
To Shape's point, they do have a negative run differential.
No, I
at
understand.
7 games over, so like that's kind of.
I watched a team named.
When they lose like 10-1.
Milwaukee Brewers do that all year and win the division.
Yeah,
it can be done.
That's an outlier.
I'm just saying, like, you can win all these 4-3 games, and then it's the 2022 Minnesota Vikings. Like, you're 13-4, but you have a +7 point differential. Like, it's hard to skin the cat and survive every single week. It's harder to do it in baseball too.
They may still have this under their belt, but the Royals had the most wins in May. A couple days ago, they were 8-1, and they don't do anything but win run games.
Yeah, the AL Central is just. I guess the Tigers are just bombarding people with Javier Baez and Gleyber Torres.
Apparently, Baez is back after a 6-year layoff.
Yeah,
I was going to say it's 2017 all over again. We got Javier Baez and Gleyber Torres, and
lots of guys naturally with no help.
Would you stop?
Become much better after 7 years.
I basically live with the greatest cynic in the continental U.S., and it's not you, Schaefer. It is this guy right here.
Hold on, let me see.
I'm not a cynic.
What is this here? We got that's a.
Would you stop?
Oh, that's for my insulin. Sorry, I don't know why that was there. Javi Baez. Anyway,
I mean the Royals are only like a +8 run differential.
Yeah,
it can be done.
Tigers are like what 50 now.
Well, I mean they get to play the Red Sox.
Tigers are 84.
It was basically softball yesterday. That'll count.
I don't need to talk about that. That's uncalled for.
Well, just yesterday they were like +9.
I believe it was +12, but yeah. I don't need that in my life right now, DB. I'm trying to be positive. You wonder why I'm such a cynic all the time?
Nope. I just cheering for my plucky Dodgers. Hopefully they'll get some semblance of a staff back.
Oh, yeah. Thank God they climbed back into number 1. That was real scary there for like a month.
We should have a celebratory Smash Burger Fest over Tony Gonsolin looking like a good pitcher again after being hurt.
Yeah, it was getting kind of scary losing Blake Snell and Tyler Glass now, and your IL is just full of I don't know, $600 million. But don't worry, here comes Tony Gonsolin. Dustin May's healthy for the first time in a few years. I'm sure they got Kevin Brown on the horn. Is he going to come out at 60-some years old and throw for him?
No, we're bringing Darren Dreifert back.
Oh, Darren Dreifert would be fun. I'd be okay with that one.
I heard they were going to bring back Nomo for no unrelated reasons to how the rest of the roster is constructed.
You get great.
Just thought he might be more comfortable now. That's all.
We'll get Kopech back for a while. He's the worst, Shay.
Well, his arm's fresh. He hasn't thrown in a while. More comfortable. That's all.
It's fine. Mike J, are you excited for training camp?
Like what training camp?
Minnesota.
They're still like a couple months away, right? Or you mean like the rookie camp stuff that they have going on?
Got a good team.
I'm more excited for us to get together with the dueling Blackstone breakfast for this game in Dublin on September 28th. There.
Hey, how good?
8:15 kick.
How good is that going to be, though?
I don't know. Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? It's going to be Aaron Rodgers and the Vikings in international territory for the second straight year. Is he going to end the game with an interception going for a game-winning drive?
I'm glad you're not piling on considerably, being in a considerably better position. That's fine.
Look, I don't know what J.J. McCarthy is going to be. I can't get excited about this season despite the fact they have a loaded roster because I have no idea what their quarterback is.
That's incredible.
I have no idea.
That no one ever.
And all of a sudden, Mike J sounds like the Schaefer's fan. I can't get excited about this incredible roster.
Hey, are you happy or bothered that they're internationally they've got 2 on the schedule?
I don't know. I mean, it feels like this is going to happen to every team at some point with as many international games as they plan to play now. So it's weird. Back-to-back Sundays, just your team's going to be done playing by 11:30. So I guess I get to watch the rest of the games and either be sad or get annoyed already that the Vikings haven't gotten enough credit for beating the Steelers and Browns by 12:30 in the morning. So, or in the afternoon. So
that's a tough draw getting that division though for your crossovers.
I'm actually kind of glad they're playing both of those teams in overseas to make it more of a 50-50. The AFC North is, you never want that 4-game slate. That's a tough. Yep. You're going to get physically beat up, and those are teams with 2 great quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, and offenses that can get at you in different ways.
Often,
No.
Oh, okay.
How'd that sit down with Devers go?
It was great.
Is he still pouting?
Yeah.
I saw he had a single the other day. That was great.
I think I should trade him. Probably to the Dodgers.
Just go along to game.
You can't play DH for the Dodgers because they already have Shohei there.
Shoot.
So
maybe
he can't play first base for the Dodgers because they have Freddie Freeman.
Dang.
He can probably play third because they have
third?
Max Muncy, who hasn't been good in years, but
he can play third.
Hey, he did have a game-tying single the other night, though.
Wow.
Good for Mad Max. They really do need
Look at
Devers
that.
to shore up the lineup. Let's get him over to LA so that DB can have a good baseball team.
That's some great sequencing that, one of his 4 hits that he'll have in the first 2 weeks of May, 3 of them home runs and 1 of them a single, and the game-tying single. That's nice.
Max Muncy.
You guys, it's fine.
Optimization right there.
Let's go.
Appreciate the time as always, and this is why I take shots at Mason Rudolph. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.
See you guys.
That's Mike J. Schaefer, Husker 24/7.
I pretty much hate your guts.
Listen, he was naming off the AFC North quarterbacks. I wanted to make sure you guys were included.
That's fine.
Will Howard, should I throw Will Howard in there?
How does it benefit the NFL to have a schedule reveal and they're leakier than Shane's toilet?
That's a landlord issue, I think.
You mean my sink?
Your sink.
Oh, the sink, not the toilet. You all right?
No.
What happened?
Oh, that was the wrong move.
Uh-oh.
Oh, geez.
The Rockets, regular.
Shane, you gotta hit the music.
All right, we're gonna take a little break here though, so the DB can breathe this one out. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Give me that cheddar, Nick and Rico. Big money
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys. You know, the media have been very, good to me, have been very supportive. So I appreciate all that you guys have done. It was a very interesting weekend, a big series against Xavier. I was very concerned that the players would get distracted with all the things that were going on, so I was very pleased with how they performed. Even though we did not win Sunday's game, we still played well and with all the things that were going on before the game, and they knew there was probably some things going to take place after the game. So all in all, it was a good week for us. We went 3-1 against some very good competition in a very unique situation for everybody, myself, but more importantly, the players. Having not gone through anything like this before. It's been a very rewarding season. I've enjoyed working with these players. It's one of the many reasons why I wanted to come back. We have such a good nucleus of veteran players, Nolan Sailors and Tate Gillen and Ben North, Kyle Hess, just to name a few. And they've done what I thought they were capable of doing.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
So we're really focused on that, and these it's like, for me, it's having like 22 sons in the summer, and I love these kids and men, and we do a couple things. One of the things is we try to have as many of them possible live under the same roof to create that bond. And when players are scattered all over the city and they see each other in the locker room and they see each other at a game, it's not that same bond. So they'll go to camp. Plug for camp, great bar, and it's like a fraternity a little bit. We make sure as many meals as possible together. We also want to give them the best nutrition possible, and things that maybe they don't know about, that they don't have a personal trainer for to pay attention to. So we, for me, and I tell them this at the beginning of every season, I want to raise great human beings. I want them to be a better person that they were before, that they are after. And I want them to go as far as they can in their career.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's CBM Ravi Lulla, presented by Centros Federal Credit Union here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Good stuff there with Schaefer, as always. The chat was pretty mad when we veered away from the Bill Belichick stuff. They were pretty in on the...
Dude, our chat is off the chain. I have one of my buddies. He's like, hey, if I'm doing too much in there, just let me know. And I'm like, are you nuts? That thing is grade A certifiable.
Dude,
you're good.
The chat's the best. Even when they're killing me, that's the best.
Yeah.
I just love how engaged. I like how engaged they are.
Making fun of my great thinking out loud processing.
That's all right.
I know it comes across as dumb. It's fine.
No, it's because it happens in real time.
Yeah, I'm trying to arrive at a solution.
Here's me being kind to you. It happens. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here.
Here we go.
So sometimes when you're on air, you don't want to have silence, right? So you'll talk out the thing you're thinking through when normally you would just take a beat, figure it out in your head, and then say it.
Right.
So sometimes you gotta.
That's not what happens, but I'm going with that from here on out.
Oh, that's what I assumed it was.
Like when you. Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
assumed
good
that you were
for
kind of
you. Thank
talking
you.
it so you didn't have dead air.
No,
because there is kind of an awkwardness. Like if you're thinking about something, I don't know how long it's going to take, so I don't want to talk.
Do you know how
You know what I
many
mean?
things you've said that I have gone radio silent? At least 30. I am not afraid of radio silence.
It's internet silence now.
At least 30.
Yeah, sometimes you just stare at me.
Furs will get 3 in one segment. Well, I won't say anything.
It's different when you're using silence to effect, though, versus it's just silence because you're thinking.
Yeah.
I'm one with the kids.
It's a little different.
Wu-Tang. We're for.
Yeah.
How about that
Version
ridiculous
Wu-Tang.
list that showed up when we clipped the
I thought it was a little funny.
Of course you did.
Just,
Can you imagine somebody looking at that clip? Because sometimes people only just look at the clips and they see that whiteboard or that pad in the back.
I know.
They're probably trying to pause it and read what's out there.
So I did that because I was like, where was he at on the list when we took this clip? Because I couldn't figure out if he had written ass on the board yet at that point. He was talking about Bill Belichick too, apparently.
Childish. I didn't know Boost is greater than Ensure. I thought Ensure. What's the one for older people that's not Boost?
I think that's Ensure is the other old people one. I think Boost has more protein though.
Yeah, and Todd's not even old enough. We're almost the same age, and I don't take either one of those. I don't drink either one of those things.
No, you just do regular protein, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you do shakes or just meat?
I dry scoop. I don't do shakes because I don't
You
like
dry scoop protein?
Yeah, I don't want to feel full.
That's disgusting.
You just have to get it off your teeth.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with disgusting. How big of a scoop were like those protein scoops are big?
They're bigger than like a Gatorade.
They're bigger than like a pre-workout
scoop.
scoop.
Yeah, they're not huge.
There's a pretty good. I mean, they're pretty good sized scoop.
It's fine.
It's like a quarter of a
And
cup.
it's not. It's a little more powdery too, so it's more like flour than swallowing sugar.
Yeah,
The
it's easier to
consistency.
swallow sugar.
Probably.
That's some crazy work. I'm just saying.
That's what you just rinse your mouth out and.
Dry scooping protein is. You're the only person I've ever heard do that.
So 2 reasons, and I get
You
it.
don't wanna feel
Everybody has their container.
Yeah.
Number 1, I don't want to feel full. Number 2, by the time I get all the gunk off, I'd rather have just wiped my teeth down.
All the gunk off of what?
Whatever you shake it with.
Oh.
Don't give me your little spiral balls or this container does this or this container
Oh
does
no, I just
that.
deal with it. I mean, it's not like there's no good efficient way to
If
do
I'm
it.
going to get the gunk off the little spiral ball, I'm going to just get the gunk off my teeth.
Yeah, I would rather deal with the spiral ball 100% of the time.
Well, you apparently leave dishes in your sink too.
Well, yeah, they got to soak.
It's your show. You're just doing what you want.
Hashtag too soon.
That marriage has been over for almost a decade. It's fine.
Oh, inside I was crying. Which else was another good point from the segment that
What's
I'm
that?
sure was missed.
What's that? If you're going to be that angry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep that same energy.
No, I 100%. And I believe that to my very core.
Ronnie?
And I
Why
try.
are these dishes in?
I don't even know her voice. I probably wasn't anywhere close.
I mean, she was not Southern or Asian or whatever that voice was. I don't know what that was. I don't know what voice you were doing.
Asian?
I don't know.
What does Asian sound like?
It wasn't like turning red or anything. We didn't have that going on.
What does Asian sound like?
Well, so people from certain Asian regions have an accent. If
How about Schaefer trying to get you in trouble and then playing it off?
If English isn't their first language. Get me in trouble for what?
When he goes, what would that have been like,
for
Ravi?
Belichick?
Yeah.
Do you need me to do a visual? Like, no, never mind.
How about no?
I wasn't going to be graphic. I was just going to explain it.
I'm just talking literally out loud.
Like, like sock puppets or something. Just like Lamb Chop's Neighborhood for the kids, figuring it out. Like, so if you're an old person.
Who's Lamb Chop?
That was one of the PBS shows. It was like sock puppets, and I don't know, it was a thing. You can Google Lamb Chop. It was up there.
I feel like I can't Google sock puppets, though.
I'll Google Lamb Chop for you. I'm just going to Google Lamb Chop TV.
Am I
Do you not remember Lamb Chop? Lamb Chop show, see?
Isn't?
Yeah, it was like these puppets.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the voice in it. Was
Yeah, exactly.
That stupid thing.
I mean, it wasn't great.
That's the lady behind the voice?
Yeah, she's a little scary. There's a lot going on there.
Nice makeup game.
Oh, it's a different time.
Cute hair, too. How long that take?
It's a different time. There's probably a perm involved.
Jeez. Just get a conch and call it good.
Some of your friends might call it a Jerry curl. Because different time. It was more popular in the 80s.
31.
So permanents so perms are not a thing anymore?
Shut up, Great Clips. You're getting your hair cut for $10. What do you care?
They exist.
Plus 5.
For the tip. They exist. I don't know how popular they are, Shane. Like, you can still get one if you really wanted. Not you. Your hair's not long enough.
This dude paid $5 for just the tip. Like, really?
Wouldn't you?
It's more than Bill's paying. Belichick.
Just simple
for the
math.
PR stuff.
No, I'm just talking about simple math.
Oh,
get almost a 50% tip.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, I don't know. First of all, pervert.
What?
Second of all, child.
What?
Like you two in cahoots.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's what you meant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
50% tip. Yeah, on top of the bill.
And you don't have an option.
That's what I said. On top of the bill.
So did I tip okay?
Just with a kind of a straight face.
So did I
did my best.
The worst liar ever.
I did my best.
Did I not tip enough? Did I get to put more in the?
I have to imagine you did not tip enough. No, 50% is pretty good.
Is Wyatt not the greatest?
See, I would never do that. Well,
he's Asian. He can.
Yeah, he gets a little leeway. That's why I can make Gandhi jokes. Seemingly was a bit of a tough hang. Not as bad as Mother Teresa, though.
I don't know how we do it.
I'm just got to be careful there.
I don't know how we do it.
Never meet your heroes.
Does my mom know we're on air?
I don't know.
I haven't said anything naughty. Even though you tried to make it seem that way with a $5 tip.
No, I was talking about on top of the bill. The bill of
it's not just your fault. The child over there was riding for it.
It's mostly his fault.
Yeah, whatever. I don't appreciate that.
I do appreciate that he gave a 50% tip on his bill, though. That's nice.
Well, I like it. I got 2 freebies for you today too.
50% is aggressive.
I helped. I helped TK out after burying him one day.
So Shane, write these down so you don't have to go to Great Clips anymore.
Well, or just $5. You'll be good.
Just do it.
It'll get you your tip.
What do we got?
I don't want to because I really can't stand you, and I'm gonna need a couple.
Red Sox, baby.
Yep, 100%.
I know. As soon as you say that, it's gonna be Red Sox.
The Red Sox will beat the Tigers, and it's not till 5:40, but it's Bello.
They'll beat Daniel Tiger's neighborhood,
and he's got Holton, I think.
Yeah.
Take the Tigers, or excuse me. Perdóname.
Take the Red Sox.
Take the Red Sox.
Minus 115, light juice.
Yeah, little light Tampico. You seem like a Tampico guy. Are you Tampico?
I'm not familiar.
It's a type of juice.
Nah, I'm probably right.
And
who else we got?
Shane, I got one for you. We're going with the Winnipeg Jets.
My Winnipeg Jets?
Yeah. We're going 2 Ravis today.
They gotta even that thing up.
Winnipeg will win.
Need it.
Get you all that good plus money.
That's right.
And then lay a little bit of the Juicy Lucy with your Boston Red Sox. So it's a Ravi day.
Plus 120 for the Winnipeg Jets to even the series up at 2 apiece.
I do not need to see this happening loitering early.
So we're out here. We're out here, right?
Literally.
I mean, you a little nervous?
Yep. Yep, I am.
Do you want to talk about?
I still get. What is? We're out here. What is Wyatt doing?
I like Wyatt a lot. He is gonna get me in trouble one day.
Yeah, because you're gonna say what he's.
I'm gonna repeat something out loud that Wyatt said,
and it's gonna get you.
And I'm gonna get in a little trouble. Although technically, I am also Asian. Technically.
Well, I made the similar reference, and you told me, yeah. It ain't the same continent, pretty far away.
It is the same continent, but there's a little different, I mean, oh God. Sorry, we got more stuff outside the window. It's distracting.
Gives me anxiety.
I mean, we had the geese the one day. We had a turkey. The turkey was wild. That thing just trotting along.
It was nosy.
Yeah, he's like, hey, what's going on in here? I had a duck in my neighborhood the other day.
Oh, really?
Just
what's the closest body of water to you?
Well, we've got the preserve over in. Like there's a little lake kind of in the neighborhood.
A preserve? Is that what it's
Reserve.
called?
A reserve.
I think you said preserve.
Yeah, like jams and jellies. Big grape jelly guy.
Of course.
Do they actually put preserves still in those?
That's
reserves or preserves?
Preserves.
They're not in the lake, no. They don't
He might be talking about preservatives.
Yeah, like in the jam and the jelly.
Well, you can get either. You can get kind of the old schools, like Smuckers, where you got the preservatives and the chemicals, all that good stuff, in the squeezy bottle, and then you kind of got your like organics, whole food stuff, where you're not gonna have a lot of preservatives there. But I don't like that as much. I'll be honest. I like my grape jelly to taste like chemicals,
like Concord.
Yeah,
Don't matter to me.
yeah. Give me that Concord grape jelly.
We're gonna talk about him tomorrow. He's off to a good start. Again, kind of like Austin, I am now cheering for Shedeur Sanders.
I weirdly am too. I get backed into these corners with people I don't even like, and now I'm like, now I sort of have to root for you. Like I was rooting for Cal in March Madness, just to kind of stick it to Kentucky, and all these people are like, Cal can't coach, blah blah blah. They started off 0-6 in the SEC, and then I was like, oh well, the SEC is apparently the greatest basketball conference of all time. That's what I was told. That's what I was told.
Hey, Husker Dominator makes a good point, and I'm
Who's
with him,
deleting
too.
what?
He does make a good point because it does get kind of crazy. He just wants you to stop deleting the messages when the show ends.
So I don't think they do.
Well, when we log off, I think
it stays with the feed though, or stays with the live show.
Are you sure? 'Cause
I'm not
I don't
sure.
Think, I don't
I'm not
think,
sure.
I don't think so. Yeah,
You're not
Shane.
on- you're not
Because
on the mic,
here's
man.
the cool thing, Shane. When you have that little thing sticking out of your ear, you can talk into it, and we can actually hear you.
You can't just yell at us.
Well, if you quit,
we're still on the
if
air.
you quit
Shane.
deleting the comments, I'd be able to talk to you.
Yeah,
That's not how microphones work, Shane.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Do they still put preserves in them?
Preservatives. He said preserve, but it's reserves. But hey, you guys just knock yourself out by butchering what we're really talking about.
Hey, Justin says it definitely stays on the feed.
I'm talking about jelly.
Isn't it funny how
here's what-
everybody rides with Justin, and he's the most. He was like the most.
He's
we
my
weren't
guy.
Sure on him early.
Yeah, I like Justin.
And now he's like
his
he's
word
like
is bond.
Switzerland. Yeah.
His word is like once Justin says it, so let it be written, so let it be done.
And I remember I said, I'm kind of riding with JR, even though I know he gets a little squirrely, but I kind of like that dude.
And now too many people are like him, so you're gonna be out next week.
Nah, he's one of the OGs. I'm staying with JR.
So I think what happened, just we'll wrap up here, Husker Dominator. So what used to happen is we would repost the show after outside the live feed, and that didn't include the comments. Now we're just leaving the live feeds up, so the comments should be in there moving forward. Got you, Husker
Does
Dominator.
that make sense?
Oh.
I just booted
Well, there you
myself.
go.
I just booted myself.
Justin the moderator. Exactly. He's JR. My word is my bond.
All right, and we're in on Husker.
He's like Ramses the second. So let it be written, so let it be done. Charlton Heston, not Clint Eastwood.
I understand.
Okay.
And do you know what he wrote that
See, I
on?
confuse white people too.
Do you know what he wrote that on?
What?
Onyx. Which coincidentally is a black tablet.
They were in Africa, and a lot of those people were pretty pasty. I don't know. Kind of weird to have a bunch of white guys playing Egyptians. But what are we going to do? That's
Onyx is a black tablet?
No, it's a car dealership. That's DB. I think we lost him. That's Shano over there. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Special.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.